Welcome to another meeting of the Geek Cabal, Cabal Whisperings. This is episode 27. Today's date is the 10th of August. Kind of going to the future. We did in our channel update. August 10th, 2024.
Yep.
Not 2025.
Correct.
Not yet.
So yeah, we just started this record. You know what? I'll get to my name in a moment. And so we just recorded our milestone of exceeding 400 subscribers. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm having brain farts here.
You mean happens to
everybody? You need me to tell you your name?
No, I know what my name is.
That's why he's avoiding it so far. Jim, do you smell toast?
Well, you know, you get talking on stuff. No, I've been out in the sun a little bit. But anyways, I had to mow 2 yards today, so
yeah, you told me that.
I've been toasting a little bit. Great sounds. But anyways, my name is Jim.
I'm Owen.
Bobbie.
I'm Chad.
And yes, they all know their names, so we're good on that. But anyways, yeah. So back at it again with another podcast. I think we went a month since
when I looked up the number, it said the last one was 4 weeks ago. So
wow,
probably.
Exactly 4 weeks ago. Nice.
So that makes sense why I'm not so good with the intros here. But hey, I'll get back at it. Get back to it.
At some point, we need to decide if we're actually going to do seasons like other people do, which will restart the numbering sequence.
No, it puts a 2 in front of it.
Yeah,
Too
season
Fast,
2,
Too Furious.
And then
No, doesn't suddenly go season 2, episode 1.
Yes,
it goes
does.
episode 201.
No, you go season 2, episode 1.
No.
I think seasons are stupid.
I know what he's referring to, but
It's referring to how hotel rooms are numbered, and there are some people that do it that way, I'm sure. But no,
Yeah.
season 2, episode 1.
I want to see the big numbers.
Yeah, we need big numbers.
Well, then we need to get together more frequently than once a month. That's going to get us there a lot faster.
Sounds good to me. Let's set a day every week.
Well, I'm just saying, like, don't commit to that unless you're actually committing to that.
Well, I can only commit every other week.
yeah.
There we go. That doubles the number every month.
And then maybe I can learn how to do an intro at some point.
Jim, your intros are great, so that's why I go to you for them.
That's why we have you here.
I'm just here for the intro because I provide no other sustenance to the talking points. But
No.
You're another light reflection in the camera that takes it away from just me.
You've got a good voice for it.
But yeah, so we just did our milestone update. Like I said, we just exceeded 400 subscribers. So again, thank you all for that.
When you're done with this video, you should go watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
If you haven't already, because it's going to be up first.
Yeah.
And we always say this, and we always forget to do it, but we always want to put up a front. If you do like what you're hearing here, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because if this thing carries on for 2 hours, I don't expect you to wait to the end to hear us, mention those things. But
Well, I actually took that out of the opening cards for the videos because, this is me following advice from other people, obviously. But it seems like people are turned off by that right up front. Because I definitely see people that literally say, the moment someone goes to that, that's when I stop watching their video. I don't know if it's a prevailing opinion, but I've taken them out, so the intros are slightly shorter.
Well,
so you're saying that everybody has now just dropped off the...
Potentially. Like, if that guy that made that comment was listening, he's gone now.
Well, there goes one.
But I did get an animation for, like, subscribe and everything. I just keep forgetting to put it in half the videos.
well,
And I put it about 5 minutes in is when I put it in.
well, Bobbie, to be quite frank, if I saw an animation like that, I'd probably be pretty turned off too.
Yeah, I mean, I put it in there for a lot of the old... I'm not going to go back and edit all the old videos. That'd take way too long. And plus, I have to re-upload them, which will change the numbers, but at least I'm pretty sure it will. And so I'm not going to do that. But I've gone through and changed the intros, even the older ones, to take that part out. So
I'm just saying, re-upload, new video. You'll double our video count instantly.
I don't want to double the video count, because that's another thing that I look at channels like, why do these people have more videos than subscribers? That's usually a warning sign that there's questionable content. Like the one fool that I occasionally watch, who also does all the car
him.
videos. He has like 4 or 5 times more videos than he has subscribers.
Oh, he does like 20 videos a day.
He does, and the prevailing opinion is he's actually a DoorDash driver while he's doing all this. But
Hey, you get trying to record.
no, because people keep trying to warn him, like he's driving around like what has to be his neighborhood, and they're telling him like we can figure out exactly where you live because these are fairly unique buildings in your background, and he's just like whatever, and it's like, dude, people hate you. Like I would not be whatevering it.
Well, yeah.
Heck, there's people out there that all they do is geolocate things. They're like, okay, I see this, I see this, I see this. I think it's over here, and then they'll find where it's at.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm half expecting like we get a comment of one time on a car video, and it's like, "Hey, nice to see that you're in this location." And it's like, "Oh, nice, thank you."
That turns out to be my driveway.
at least from what I can see in your car videos, it's most of the time the camera's pointing at the sky. Sky's the sky.
Yeah, I try not to. I try to make sure that like you can't see, or I'm like driving on the interstate. In which case I don't care if you know that I drove on the interstate. And we talk enough about where we live that people could figure out roughly where we live. Plus, we say we're in southern Indiana. So,
Yeah.
I'm an I-69 outside of Bloomington. Okay, great. Figure it out from there, genius.
Backtrack the timing on the video to find out like what's in range at that point.
Yeah.
Joke's on you, we're actually in northern Montana right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, our channel updates are in that, so we don't really have, we won't hold you up on that and get into the nitty gritty, as in.
Well, we do have some other channel updates, though. That was the what we're going to be doing going forward. This is usually the what we've done recently.
Okay.
What have we done recently?
A lot of GenCon videos, because GenCon just ended last weekend.
And apparently, 2, 3 of the videos we did became unusable.
3 of the videos are unusable.
Yeah. So you get Bobbie
2 of them are over an hour
without
long.
me.
Yeah, because Chad and I recorded on the way up there and back, and I'm not going to say it was all gold or anything, but
there was a lot of
we both literally and figuratively covered a lot of ground there.
Yeah, there was mention about someone being pulled over with flashing lights at one point on the way up there when it got really dark.
Yeah, that was the other problem. Is at least the first video, you wouldn't have seen us for the last 30 minutes of the video because the sun set.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to drive around with the light on the inside. So, and my phone makes it look brighter than it is. Like, I could still see us on my phone, but that's not what the video recorded. So, I don't know. So those are gone. And Chad and I do have some thoughts about Gen Con, because Chad, almost all the videos of Chad saying anything were the ones that got obliterated.
Imagine that. Bobbie loses the videos I'm in.
It was all a plot, Chad. I want to get your golden material and then claim it all as my own as I'm sitting in my car later on. So I did record new videos for those 2 days.
Didn't even ask me to come over to help record them. Just automatically went and did it.
Yeah. Hey, Chad, I'm in my car out in front of my house. Can you drive over? I know it's going to take you 20 minutes to get here, and the phone can't record us both in the car because of where the mount is.
Stop by after work with a tripod and...
I recorded them Monday. I didn't go to work Monday.
You could have come over to my place Monday. I was home doing nothing.
I was busy doing stuff too. That's why I didn't record the videos till later in the evening. So anyway.
Yeah, that's why they're dark.
Yeah, so we're probably going to talk a little bit about some Gen Con stuff here. But a lot of videos about Gen Con. I've got a boatload of BattleTech stuff I bought at Gen Con I'm going to be talking about. There's a Dragonlance book. I'm going to talk about that. Chad, did you pick up anything you're going to want to talk about in a video later on maybe?
Right now?
No, not right now, like in a later video.
I got some Arena Rex miniatures finally after, however many years after the first year I went it's been.
Yeah, I don't know.
That I've always seen them and thought they were beautiful, so I finally pulled the trigger and bought the starter set for the Zephyri.
Okay, well, we'll save the rest of the details on that till the actual video.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, other than that, I had a couple movie reviews, so I'm not going to be talking about those movies here. Go watch the reviews for Twisters. And for Deadpool and Wolverine, and aside from an anecdote about Deadpool and Wolverine, we're not going to be talking about those in this video. So we already have reviews for those. Go check them out. If I can remember to, whenever I edit this video and everything else, I'll put the link down in the description. So as far as channel updates, I think that's pretty much all of it at the moment. So, does anyone else has any other comments, questions?
I say we're trying some of the
declarative statements.
I say we are trying something new here because we got some comments about our audio quality. So I did get some of the sound dampening tiles here to see if, or the acoustic tiles to see if that helps at all. I don't know if it does.
I was gonna say if you can, it's here.
Right here behind Bobbie.
We'll see if it helps.
There are more scattered around, but that's the main one in the frame. So.
We'll see if it works, and if it doesn't, that's fine. I mean, I got these. I think off of Amazon. The affiliates, the affiliates link on that.
Yes, I will have Jim send me the link to where he got these on Amazon, and so look down in the description for an affiliate link if they work. If not, I mean, go ahead and click on the affiliate link, but I wouldn't buy them if they don't work. Yeah. So.
Well, I don't know. It's hard to tell if they do work. I mean,
we can't tell right now. It'll be in editing. But.
If not, you can take that out.
Or if we might need more or something.
Yeah, we might have to cover all the walls in them.
I don't think we actually have to do that. We're not trying to build an actual sound studio.
However,
life goals.
I mean, life goals is like...
We would need far better audio equipment at that point to take advantage of the sound dampening and whatnot.
Life goals wouldn't it be like get an actual studio to be recording in?
Well, not to go on some wild tangent here, but here I go.
I love setting them off.
Brad and I actually kind of talked about that a little bit, and I always kind of wondered, maybe, assuming someplace like this doesn't exist already, maybe like in Bloomington, setting up a sound studio and renting it out to other people that do YouTube videos and stuff. That can pay for everything, to rent it. Because, there's the campus there. So I have to imagine a not inconsiderable number of those people on the campus have desires to be YouTube people or Twitch people or whatever. And so I'm just wondering if there's an actual market there that would warrant the expense of, renting the property and, all the acoustic sound setup, probably having to hire a sound engineer and things like that. I'm just wondering if long term, if there's an actual business opportunity there or not.
Might be.
So if you steal my idea and you're in Bloomington or wherever, at least let me know down in the comments and share, and subscribe.
Or if you already have that business, let us know.
Yeah, or that too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I see some of these YouTube channels they'll buy an entire complex to do, their shows. Yeah. So usually they do skits and different things. But
when I said studio, I meant like a unattached garage that's air conditioned and all.
Yeah, I mean, for around here, we'd go and buy one of those prefab buildings that are out there on the highway, rig up an air conditioner, electric to it, sound dampen it. But if we're talking that kind of expense, we'll definitely be upgrading all this too. So
yeah.
No, we'll just find a bridge and go under it, have a generator running, and a fancy cardboard box.
Well, the sound's a little shot now in the background. Try to cover the generator in sound dampening foam.
I got.
No,
that'll work for about 5 minutes.
Just go get a quiet generator. I know where you can go get one. Not overly expensive.
If I sell one of my kidneys, we can afford it.
I'd mention names, but we're not sponsored.
So yeah, I think that's most of the channel updates.
Yep. So
it's time to actually get into nitty gritty.
Yes, now we can get into the nitty gritty. The I guess movies.
Yeah, movies is first. Okay, so as I mentioned, Twisters, Deadpool and Wolverine, I've already got reviews up for them. But I do just want to make one comment because Sarah and I went to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine again last night, and we got there to the Jasper 8, and the parking lot was full. And they've reopened that restaurant next to it, but now it's like a Cuban buffet.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Which I don't even know how that works because I don't know much about Cuban food. I don't know if that translates well to a buffet, but I'm interested.
Probably.
So she's like, "Wow, I think the Cuban restaurant really took off." And I go, "I'm willing to bet all these people are here at the theater. I don't know what they're watching because traditionally R-rated movies don't go over as well at the Jasper 8. However, when I got inside, my questions were answered. As we were buying our tickets, the people next to us were buying tickets for Twisters, and the guy commented, he said, that movie's been out for 3 weeks, and we keep selling out theaters for it. So they're all there to watch Twisters, which, watch my review for it. It's a good movie. But yeah, they weren't there to see Deadpool and Wolverine like I thought, where our theater's only like half full. I mean, it's one of the bigger ones, but, still about half full. Yeah, Twisters, apparently. Because I guess there's like nothing else good out aside from Deadpool and Wolverine. So, because
maybe it's the relatability factor of Twisters.
Well, it could be. With us living in like the outskirts of Tornado Alley here, we're kind of like the I don't know. Do alleyways have alleyways?
Maybe.
Whatever you call those, that's where we are in Tornado Land. Plus, apparently,
the smaller perpendicular alleyway.
Yeah, things like that.
Okay.
Like in Big Trouble in Little China, whenever Jack and Wang are driving in that back alleyway and like opens up in that little plaza kind of deal back in there. Yeah, that's kind of like where we are.
Except for there's not a giant Chinese man that you have to.
Yes, there's no 7-foot tall Chinese guy dressed up like he's from the Han Dynasty, shooting with light coming out of his mouth, and or a gang war between the Chang Sings and the Wing Kong.
I want to say something, Bobbie. Just because we haven't seen that here yet doesn't mean it ain't going on.
I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Maybe that's what is happening inside a tornado.
Could be. Yeah, but I think the theater situation is also the current new release. Owen, what were your comments about that? Borderlands.
Oh yeah. If you look at like any of the reviewers' scores, it's not pretty.
I think it barely has a couple of percent on the Rotten Tomatoes.
6%.
Oh wow!
Wow, man! Even the Acolyte didn't get down to 6%. That hit like 13 in its low.
Single digit. Ugh.
Wow.
Oh wow!
So meanwhile, the early reviews for Alien Romulus are out, and they all say it's excellent. So fingers crossed on that one. We'll see about that next week.
Good alien movie?
Yeah, well, I was watching, there's this guy in England who does a lot of alien content, and he was talking about it, and he said that he knows some people that are either working on or around the movie. So all the test screenings came back really positive, so like the reviews seem to line up with what those were saying. So he's hopeful. They also emphasize the third act is good, but as he pointed out, and I think he's right, the third act's good in basically every alien movie. He's not a big fan of Prometheus and Covenant, but he said even their third acts, divorced from the rest of the movie, are still great. Because they are. Because that's when everything hits the fan in all the alien movies.
Yeah.
And the big action set pieces all come out. So he's right. Except the difference of opinions, I actually like Prometheus and Covenant. So for me, it's Resurrection. That's the
3. For me, it's the third one.
Yeah. Owen, have you seen any of the alien movies?
I've seen the first 4.
Okay.
I can remember the first 2 very well. The third one, little.
The things the entire series is built on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen, I think, both versions of the third one.
Yeah.
Which, the main difference is, what does it come from? It comes from one of those cow buffalo things or the dog?
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that if you look at the size of it, if it came from the oxen thing, it should be ginormous.
Yeah. Because even though the movies only barely touch on this, for those of you that don't know, what the alien hatches out of actually plays a role in its physiology. It assumes some of the genetics of the thing it's inside of.
Which is why we don't want a xenomorph T-Rex.
Yeah, no. But the comics delved into that, and especially the Kenner toy line, because you're not just going to make a whole bunch of just black generic figures, so they made like gorilla aliens, Scorpion.
Which raises the question, like, how did that happen?
It was probably a giant scorpion on an alien world, a giant scorpion. Or, even though this is like using a way later justification, the spores, like in Covenant.
Well, so
Okay. Yeah.
And at one point, Batman fights a alligator or a crocodile that had
Yeah.
an alien that came out of a crocodile. How does that work? How does a face hug a crocodile?
Carefully.
I mean, does it just like eat me? Just let it eat it and then?
No, I'm assuming that there's some part of it, like once it grabs hold, it probably like pumps the thing full of something that starts to like get it so it can't fight back as easily.
Yeah.
Or again, some weird thing happened. Like that falls into the you really shouldn't think about that part too much.
But you get Batman fighting a giant crocodile alien.
Yeah.
I think Judge Dredd has fought the aliens before.
Well, the Alien and Predator comics were made by Dark Horse. They crossed over a lot with DC. Batman and Superman have fought both of them several times. And Batman versus the Predator is actually considered one of the best crossover comics ever, because crossover comics are usually just cash grab trash. Just like, we'll mash them together like they're action figures, like how Dave Filoni planned Star Wars shows. And they're just like, it's nothing. It's non-canon because it's a different universe and everything. But Batman vs. Predator, like, they actually like put some effort into that, and apparently it's really good. 2 and 3, but apparently 1's pretty good. Also, good luck finding some of those now on the cheap, because all those rights belong to Disney now, which means all those comics belong to Marvel now, and Marvel and DC haven't agreed on crossovers in like a decade. So,
yeah. I mean, they're starting to.
It took George Perez dying to agree to reprint in paperback, not even in hardcover, JLA versus Avengers. Now on the Omni front, yes.
I'm not talking about that.
On the Omni front, Marvel, I guess, did agree, and DC has reprinted Marvel versus DC and some of the crossovers in another omnibus.
I was talking about streaming stuff.
What?
That you can get a bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max.
Yeah, but that's not crossover.
It kind of is.
No, nothing in it crosses over. That's you got the money?
I'm just saying, one bundle you can watch the Marvel movies and the DC movies.
But no amalgam universe.
Not yet.
Marvel's gonna be like, why would we sully ourselves with that? We don't care how low
this is
we
getting
are.
them into the room to sit down at the table and start the peace talks.
Wait till Disney buys DC.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It will.
They'll buy Warner Brothers.
No, I'm like 90% certain that won't ever happen. Because being realistic for a moment, not going political or anything, they should not have been allowed to buy Fox. Like, that's a major monopolistic move right there. That seriously degraded the diversity of options at the theater. Like, shouldn't have been allowed to happen. Like, as much as I want all the Marvel characters together somewhere, like, that should have been allowed to happen, maybe. But not actually outright buying Fox. That's why they had to give up the TV channels. Because they were like, no, that's a bridge too far. Because then you'll control half of cable, too. So they couldn't keep the Fox TV channels.
Or Fox News.
Well, Fox News is never part of the deal. Fox News is a separate division. It was only the entertainment division. So literally like the channels that like The Simpsons are on. And
Fox News is entertaining.
They like, to be clear, I believe all the other 24-hour news networks have argued in court that they're not news, that they're entertainment, which should have never been allowed to fly from any of them, but it successfully did.
What?
Yeah, it's best if we don't really go down that path, but yes.
So, you said you had a movie that you had watched as well?
Land of Bad, Netflix movie. It was pretty good. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's Philippines? Set in the Philippines.
Okay.
Special Forces unit goes in to rescue an asset. Crap hits the fan. But it highlights something you don't see in most action movies, the military movies. The Air Force Special Forces. The guys who are sitting there on a computer while the bullets are flying around them, calling in the airstrikes. Like, that's the main character of the movie, is a guy who gets pulled in to help, who is, guy calling in airstrikes. And is way over his head because he is not a tier 1 operative.
Yeah.
He was kind of had to use the bathroom because of bad food, and you're the last one not on the plane. He was the only option. But it is a good movie. I do recommend it for a watch. Does have Russell Crowe in it.
Yeah. Is he the main character?
No. He's the on the other side of the world jockey in charge of the drone, or piloting the drone.
All right.
Well, I can say I can go over what I've watched, but I can say I have not convinced my fiance to let me get her into the nerd market yet. I said we're going to slowly ease you into that so you can see some of those movies. That's usually something, either a comedy or a girly movie. This time it was
Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck.
He wants to get her into it, not scare her off.
It has a primary female protagonist in it. She's a rock star. It's Leah Thompson. There she is. And, Howard the Duck.
Well, she's really big into all the Madea movies. And actually, we didn't even know this one was a Madea movie until we scrolled over it and it had, I guess it has Madea in it. So Madea is a character created by Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry has his own studio, and I guess he's like his studio is highly rated, except for his last movie he rolled out had one of the worst Rotten Tomato scores. I think it had a sitting 0. This was not that movie. But, so normally it's Madea does this, Madea does that. That's how all of his movies are. But this one was called I Can Do Bad All By Myself. And I didn't even know it had her in it until we were watching the trailer because we were trying to see if, we wanted to watch it. I'm like, what the hell is Madea in this? And she's only shoehorned into it for a, one plot thing.
Yeah.
And she's in it for the beginning and then one scene in the whatever, then it's nowhere to be seen after that. And we've noticed that with a lot of these, a lot of the movies that have, even the ones that are supposedly Madea movies, she's just a side character in it. And she's just there to make people laugh and say funny things. And then, and sometimes in the most inappropriate times, there's one where it's supposed to be some sort of funeral going on, but then you find out there's all of this spousal abuse. And then Madea comes in, trying to be all funny. And it's this is a terrible time to have her come in and say something because it's you just had some guy beating his wife, and then it's oh, she got Madea, Madea impression. But when I say it's a good movie, no, it's it reminds me of a Lifetime. It had that kind of quality to it. I mean, they're fine, but
they're popular.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's another one I watched. I watched Old School. With Will Ferrell,
yeah.
The other,
Owen, Luke Wilson,
not Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson, and Vince Vaughn, and again, it's a movie I never watched, when it came out. It was just not one that I really thought about, and it's just again, it's I watch it now, it's none of the things that happen in these movies would ever happen. The whole plot, the whole anything, just none of it makes any sense. Where, it starts with the guy buying a house. Turns out it was on an area where they wanted to redesignate it for college, whatever. So they turn it into a fraternity. Yeah. It's not associated with the school at all in any way. None of the people there go to school.
Well, until they get the younger guys in there, right?
Yeah.
And then they're kind of there, and they're like, well, what are you guys here for?
Well, there's one guy that's 80.
It's just, Old Blue?
Yeah.
Old Blue.
Then dies while K-White Jelly wrestling 2 topless women.
Yeah, he sure did.
My God. This movie sounds horrible.
Well, and then,
it's funny.
And so they had to take some test to remain as part of the, or to be part of the, to actually be a fraternity. They had take some, they all had to take a test. And they're well, you all passed, but because of Old Blue, he didn't pass. And well, he passed away.
You like the debate. The other day, the college guy brings in James Carville, and he gives, then Will Ferrell's like, I've got this. It goes up, and Carville's like, damn, he's right.
because he like goes into like some sort of trance as he's going and
Yeah.
doing his debate. Again, I mean, it's a funny movie, but I mean, I'm here like looking at this, going, "There's no way none of this would ever happen."
Well,
Back in the day when it came out, nobody would have thought that. They would just been like, "Oh, it's funny, funny stuff." Aha.
well, that's like Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Like, they're not just going to not notice that they knocked down the support walls in 3 different dorm rooms to just make one giant room and put in like a hot, like, someone's going to see all that happening. Be like, what's going on here? And the college, I hate to say this, but I think the college would have definitely just been like, thank you for the money, here's your degree. Like, because this was, this is back in the 80s. Like, the other professors, they would have never convinced old Dean Martin. And yes, he was the dean, his last name was Martin, so it's Dean Martin, which Rodney Dangerfield laughs at every time he says his name. And for those of you too young, he was a singer. And yeah, like, he would have just been like, yeah, the Thornton School of Business over here, and we're gonna give you a what's the word I'm looking for here?
Honorary degree.
An honorary degree, yeah. Because he had no reason to get a degree. He was just there to try to interact with his son, which he doesn't do a whole lot of. Although the best part of that one is definitely when the English professor gives him his paper back, like, whoever wrote this, because I know you didn't, doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut, and he calls up Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegut, you're fired. The paper sucked. Vonnegut's like, well, screw you too. Yeah, the woman who is the English professor, you've seen the movie, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the woman who's the English professor, she's in like the first season of Star Trek, the original series. In that episode where one of the officers gains like godlike powers, and Kirk's like, well, we've got to stop him because he's become a madman. And like, she gains powers too. And like, she's able to like make him weak so Kirk can blast him with a phaser rifle. So yeah.
Now the only thing
There's a book that's a sequel to that episode.
Yeah.
With the Next Generation.
Huh. The only thing I think I really remember about Back to School was, wasn't there a scene where he's doing the diving?
The triple Lindy. Yeah, because his son's on the swim team, and the captain of the swim team gets like a cramp. And by the way, he's the guy that's the bad guy from the Karate Kid. And his girlfriend in the movie is Dax from Deep Space Nine. And yeah, so he's like going up, and he like gets a cramp, so he can't do it. And they're like, well, we need someone else. And earlier in the movie, he'd been talking to the coach, and the coach is like, hey, because he told him where he's from, he's like, hey, you wouldn't happen to have ever gone and seen this show. This guy did this amazing dive. And he's like, the triple N. He goes, yeah, you're talking to him. He's like, what? He goes, yeah, that was me. He's like, oh, that'd be amazing to see it again. Well, it was years ago. And so at the end of the movie, he's like, all right, like they had no choice. Like, I got to do it. Yeah, that's one of Robert Downey Jr.'s earliest movies, too. He's the roommate. And then the main kid is the guy from Christine. That's the only thing I've ever seen him in. So, yeah.
Sounds like I need to watch this movie.
Oh, you do. It's very funny. And, yeah, Dean Martin, that's, I think his name here in a minute, played Otis in Superman. Lex Luthor's incompetent guy that's with him for God only knows what reason.
Probably makes one really good cup of coffee.
I don't know. Lex wouldn't even give him Otisville. They had the redrawn map of what was going to be left once the new hit California, and he had all the cities planned out for like all the new area that he owned. Otis had written in Otisville in somewhere. Lex is like, Otisville? It's like, what? It's a small place, like Otisville. And then finally he's yelling at him, and he's like, all right, I'll get rid of it. And like, Superman's standing there the whole time, and Lex just like, yeah.
All right, well.
So, I do actually have a movie I want to talk about, though, Jim.
You do?
I do. Very briefly. I went to go watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind in the theater a couple weeks ago. And I've never actually watched the movie all the way through, apparently.
I've never seen it either.
And I forgot that like half of it takes place in northern Indiana. That's where, what's his name? Who I'm totally spacing his name. I really got to write these people's names down. Richard Dreyfuss. That's where his character lives. And like the encounter that you hear about of an airplane, it's like the Indianapolis Air Traffic Control is who's talking through it and everything. And good movie if you've never seen it, by the way. I mainly went because I thought I wanted to see what the special effects from 40 years ago look like on the big screen. Still hold up pretty well. I will say that like halfway through the movie, I'm sitting there thinking, It's a shame Spielberg never made any horror movies because, like, he would do really well. Because if you don't know how the movie ends, like, there's actually like some good setup. Of course, then I also remembered. Oh wait, he also made Jaws. He has made horror movies. Like, of course, he's proven he can do this, but he should have done more of this. He also produced Poltergeist, if I remember right. Because Tobe Hooper was the director, but Spielberg had a part in it. And yeah. So anyway, if you ever get the chance to see it, you know, on the big screen, it's definitely great. Look through Fathom events, like I keep mentioning. Got to decide if tomorrow I'm going to go watch Lawrence of Arabia. 4.5 hour movie.
Go.
Has an intermission though.
You'll need it.
I'll go with you.
Poltergeist. Steven Spielberg was one of the writers.
Okay, because I know he was on set because there was one scene that they filmed that like totally scared Carol, the girl that played Carol Ann. Because like afterwards he's like, that's we'll do what we can with the take. Like I'm not here to terrify you, little girl. Like we're not going to do that again. So meanwhile, Tobe Hooper was probably like, God damn it. So Tobe Hooper directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's a horror movie director. Like also directed Lifeforce, which I've only barely ever talked about on this channel, but it's great.
Wait.
Space Vampires?
Yeah,
Zombies in London?
so.
Yep.
Didn't we watch that?
We did.
After the
COVID year
Gen Con that wasn't when we were
Yes.
up there for Gen Con?
Yep, at the hotel.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that movie someday. That'll be a very R-rated conversation.
R, the pirate.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it was good. So if you get the chance and you haven't ever seen it, definitely check it out. Very optimistic movie. You know, despite what I said about the whole horror aspect. Like, if you don't know how it ends, like, it's a great setup for a horror movie. But, no, it's one of those movies where, like, alien contact is ultimately is a good thing. You know, there's definitely an exchange at the end. There's communication. Although it's entirely through, like, synthesizer music. So I don't know what the hell they were saying, but,
So,
you know.
not like
Alien.
or Contact.
No, Contact was positive. They talked to the aliens at the end. It was the first step towards mankind making contact.
And no one believed her but one guy. Two guys, sorry.
Well, yes, the religious guy believed her with his very eloquent, look, she's using science, I'm using religion, but we're all ultimately just seeking the truth. And I, for one, believe her. You know, so...
Well, there's also the rich guy that believed her.
Well, the rich guy believed her, but also the, I don't remember what her position was, but the woman who talks to James Woods at the end of the movie is like, you know, it's amazing what you didn't mention that's in the report about how a recorder recorded for 10.5 hours or however long. And he's like, it is pretty amazing, isn't it? She's like, we should look into that. And he's like, yeah, maybe. So they had proof that she was gone, just that nothing was recorded. Yeah, Contact's a good movie.
It is.
So that's it for movies for us. For me.
I said that brings up a point. I think with aliens, you have two options. You have where they're like the Federation, where they're coming to, you know, explore and find new life and civilization, all that. And then you've got the Independence Day crowd that's just like, yeah, we're here to take over what you got.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Independence Day, Battle for L.A.
Yeah.
Here I thought you was going to say we had the two options. We either take the Zephyr Cockrum approach or the Zephyr Cockrum approach. You're either peaceful or you take them out with a shotgun as soon as they step off the ship.
Well, even the Federation, though, they're like Prime Directive. What's the Prime Directive?
Yeah.
It's there when it's there when it's convenient.
Pretty
not
much.
convenient.
But yeah, I mean, you know, that's what a lot of people have come to the conclusion of, is there won't be a middle ground. We're not going to run into, like, aliens that are just out on a joyride. Like I can't think of the name of that movie, but that does actually happen in one movie. It's the three younger kids ran into him. Yeah, that's it.
Where they fly in a carnival ride to...
Yeah.
They build like some sort of anti-gravity field around it, and they fly into space.
But yeah,
the Explorers.
That yeah, it's gonna be one of the two, and the more likely is we're coming to take your stuff.
Though going to an inhabited planet seems like the last resort that you'd want to do, because if you're looking for
if you're just looking for resources, you don't want to fight over them.
What if the inhabitants are the resources, though?
Oh, like in Dark of the Moon.
Yes.
I think it's Dark of the Moon. One of those stupid Transformers movies.
Yes, the third one.
Yes, the one where they're like, well, yeah, because we want slaves.
I was trying not to use that word.
Well, I mean, that's what they're. Well, I can say, or you can be the stupidest race of people of Battlefield Earth.
Yeah.
Her wanting gold, not realizing there's just gold reserves everywhere.
Yeah, they want it mined, but they don't bother, going places where it actually be.
And somehow a nuclear bomb can destroy their entire planet.
Well, that one almost makes sense, almost, with one huge caveat here. It's because their atmosphere is combustible and exposed to radiation, right?
But there's radiation in space.
That's the caveat, is that their planet doesn't make any damn sense to begin with. But if we buy into that, then a powerful enough nuclear bomb, while it might not destroy their planet, should definitely put one hell of a dent in it. Because it will irradiate basically the entire planet given enough time once it detonates.
But radiation was lethal to them in the first place.
Well, right, but we're talking the end of the movie, where it just kaboom.
Well, radiation is lethal to most people.
Yeah, see, the problem, though, is what Jim mentioned, is that, like, it doesn't make any sense to begin with, because presumably they orbit a star.
Unless it's a different type of star. I don't know. Look, I'm trying to defend a movie I shouldn't, okay?
What you're doing is, like, there was an episode of, I think it's Family Guy, where somehow they went up for like $20 million or something. Like, you can make a low-budget movie set in a mid-sized city. And so it cuts to the theoretical frame. It's like, oh no, they just detonated that new type of bomb that doesn't have an explosion or anything like that here in Dayton, Ohio. So it didn't have to show the effects of the bomb or anything, and it's just a small city. It's like, that's where you're going with that. Like, well, yeah, it's a star that doesn't emit radiation, like every other star, and even the collapsed ones. I know. Like, maybe it has a stupidly strong magnetic field that prevented radiation from reaching the surface.
Maybe it was a rogue planet.
They'd all be dead, though.
Not necessarily.
They presumably have to eat something. And they weren't nocturnal.
They were invading other planets, obviously.
But they weren't nocturnal.
Well, they need to take their six-fingered hands and go somewhere else.
Don't want to stick those six-fingered hands.
No, that movie was absolutely terrible, but...
That movie is something else.
Oh, gosh. But I don't even know how I got onto that tangent, but yes, Owen, watch Battlefield Earth.
Yes.
It's great.
It is.
Especially if you like, and I can't remember what, the Dutch angle. Every shot is done at an angle.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to be watching it like this.
Yeah, so if you want to see the creative genius of L. Ron Hubbard, that's what you're watching.
Yep.
You know who L. Ron Hubbard is?
No.
I don't know, creator, the founder.
The founder of Scientology.
Yeah.
Founded as a result of a bet that he couldn't found a religion, essentially.
Don't speak ill of Scientology.
Well, I mean,
they will find out. They will come for you.
Yeah.
They have Tom Cruise level money.
They have Tom Cruise.
They have Tom Cruise's money, too.
Well, I mean, him alone is probably enough, but even though I'm like a foot taller than him.
Yet they somehow can't take down the forces of South Park.
Yeah, well.
Anyways, good movie. Or not a good movie, but watch it.
It's a movie you need to watch.
It's a movie that has been made.
Yes, it is one of the movies of all time.
There are worse movies that exist.
I would argue that Troll 2 is a worse movie. If you've never seen it.
I've never.
God.
I just go to argue The Room is worse.
Yeah.
But see, there's also that where a movie can be so bad that it's good, like Velocipastor.
Oh, and you see that.
I was going to say, that's like The Core.
Yeah, The Core's good.
It's just bad enough, but everyone in it's like acting seriously, like they're making like a real movie. And I'm like, no, you're not. This is not a serious production.
Concept and all, horrible. The acting in it saves it, makes it a good movie.
Yeah, I think some people in the movie actually won Academy Awards, unless I'm mistaken. And they're not like Ben Kingsley, who should have his revoked. Because he willingly chose to be in Bloodrayne. Like, anyone in that movie should never win any award aside from a Raspberry ever again.
He willingly signed on to that movie.
Well, yeah.
Like, read the script, wasn't offered a crap ton of money.
What money? It was an Uwe Boll production, and a very bad one at that. Like, you get to see Michael Madsen's sword fighting technique, which consists of holding his hilt approximately here and just kind of doing this, and somehow defeating people who are, like, as agile as normal human beings. So they can do things like step back and lunge, who should have easily defeated him. You know, or you get Meatloaf as a vampire.
Well, that one I can see, though.
Ben Kingsley was a vampire.
Meatloaf's a good actor. He was great in Black Dog.
He was okay in Black Dog. I think Randy Travis was the better singer turned actor in that movie, but
He was. He was.
but yeah, no, that is a terrible movie. Like, I don't know if it's Uwe Boll's worst movie, but it's getting close. Which is kind of like, you know, what's the worst way to get, like, diarrhea or something, but, you know, because it's all terrible in the end.
Did you ever watch his Postal movie?
No, I didn't.
You should.
No, as far as I'm concerned, he made one halfway decent movie.
Which one?
Tunnel Rats. It's not based on a video game. It's about tunnel fighting in Vietnam and how much it really sucked.
Well, I mean, yeah, it did.
So, like, there are just all kinds of new ways to kill people in tunnels I didn't know before I watched that movie.
I mean, you know, they put traps in the tunnels.
Yeah, but there are, like, some really, like, traps I never would have even considered. Like, oh, the guy just went past me. I'll seal him in and pull this little thing and flood the section he's in and drown him. Like,
well, hell, weren't any safer up on top either. I mean, like, all the different traps, like, people would step in and they, like, the spikes would come and...
Yeah. Or the, like, putting claymores up in the trees facing down.
What?
Yeah.
Or, and then, well, again, with those spikes, a lot of times they would put, like, you know, like, animal feces or whatever all over them, so that pretty much...
Oh, yeah.
Not only would you get stabbed, but you would get infected wounds.
Yeah, if you didn't die, if you didn't have your entire leg degloved from how those spikes were actually set up, you got infection.
Yeah.
And it was getting cut off. Because those spikes were not just spikes sticking up. There was ones that interlaced somewhat horizontally, and when you stepped in, went it down.
Yeah.
Any attempt to pull your leg out, just...
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. No, his other movies, absolute trash. Like, Alone in the Dark, terrible. Only good thing of that is I found out about the band Nightwish. In the Name of the King. Burt Reynolds is a medieval king. His nephew's Matthew Lillard, like, hamming it up, like,
to no
way
end.
worse than any of the other movies you've ever seen.
Ray Liotta as the main bad guy.
Ray Liotta as the evil sorcerer.
Yeah.
John Rhys Davies, the only person in the movie who's like, you know, I should at least try to act here.
I should at least try to act in a fantasy movie.
Yeah. Kristana Loken was like the head of the Forest Elves or something. Jason Statham was the main character, whose name is just Farmer.
Yep.
That's it.
He does not see the point in a name beyond, you know, what the status is.
Yeah. And then, like, the usual goobers that are in the rest of his movies, trying to act like actual actors. I think Ron Perlman was in it too, wasn't he?
Yep. As the guy who raised Farmer.
Yeah. And I think this is a close to 3-hour movie, if I remember right.
It is a glorious train wreck. There's a sequel to it.
I never could convince anyone to go watch it with me. So I had to wait till home video.
There's an In the Name of the King 2.
There's an Alone in the Dark, too.
The In the Name of the King 2 has a time-traveling soldier, played by Dolph Lundgren.
Yes. I might have to watch it at some point.
Is he a Universal Soldier?
Probably.
Yeah, and then House of the Dead. Wow. That is a bad movie, too.
What is it with movies bringing time travel into, like, just randomly out of nowhere? You mentioned that, and the first thing that popped in my head was TMNT 3.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they killed Shredder in the end of the second one, right?
They had to, yeah.
Although we thought we killed him in the first one, so, you know, he could have always dug himself out from the pier.
Yes.
No, they didn't have Shredder, so they had to find a villain. Well, there's
and Krang and the Technodrome would have been a little bit too expensive back in the early 90s, right?
Yeah.
They could have had Baxter Stockman.
Who would have also gotten expensive.
No, we'd already had Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. We were halfway there.
You just need to have Mausers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they could have. Yeah, they could have gone with Baxter's Stock.
Because you just go the tech route.
Yeah, but see, the time travel one lets them just have to worry about the turtle costumes, and then
And build a
sex.
castle that they had to blow up at the end of production.
There's probably another castle they used that was already built for something else.
No, they had to build one. They had to blow it up because, like, that's one of the laws in Japan. Like, when you build crap like that, you can't just leave it there.
Wait, they actually filmed in Japan?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So the scenes where it's actually, hey, the castle's being blown up, is the castle's actually being blown up.
I think that's a distinct possibility. Yeah.
Cool.
I'd have to. It's been a while since I read the article about it, but yeah.
But unlike the movie Popeye, where they actually left the village intact and you can actually go there as a tourist attraction, people live there now. It's just
like Robin Williams Popeye movie.
Yep, 100%. Yes, 100%. That's a legitimate. The whole set's still there.
Where is it?
I'd have to look it up, but yeah.
I wouldn't mind going. That movie's
spinach
great.
everywhere.
Huh?
They sell spinach everywhere.
Hamburgers, everybody.
I want to go to that.
Hamburgers everywhere.
Well, yeah, gladly pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today.
Yep.
They probably don't allow you to do that.
Probably not. They probably have a sign up there saying, "Don't even mention it, or you won't be served."
Yeah.
All right. What's the next thing? We need to move on to the next.
Yeah, we'll just sit here talking about movies.
We need some variety in that.
Well, I know books are going to be kind of light, unless you've got a bunch of books that you.
Well, I mean,
actually, I do have some mention in books.
Yeah, go ahead, Owen, because I don't got.
I finished the first book of the original Tron trilogy.
Heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty good.
Better than Ahsoka?
I would say so.
Okay.
I mean, the only mild problem I have with it is that it feels like, oh wow, all these characters just happen to end up in the same place all at once.
You can say that about most major properties like that.
That's the great thing about the Star Wars universe. It has the ultimate MacGuffin in that the Force.
It's the will of the Force, guys.
But no, overall than that, I thought I liked it.
Did they start to talk about the Clone Wars in that one? Because I remember, it's been also read the trilogy, but I know they do, and like the way they describe it is like nothing like what the actual Clone Wars were. That's the one major problem with it. Was like they need to be slightly rewritten to massage that point.
It was made before the movies were made.
I know, and that was why George Lucas didn't want anyone writing about it, because he intended on making the other movies and didn't want to be beholden to
other than
else.
There might have been a small mention, but no, not yet.
Have they gone to the Emperor's storehouse of stuff yet? I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. They went there the first time.
Okay.
Because that's where they get the little the cloaking device.
Okay. So they run into Sabaoth.
Yes, they have.
Thrawn mentioned what he knows about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a clone. Thrawn knows because he killed the original.
Yeah. Luke, too.
Luke shows up in the final pages of The Last Command. And all he does is scream whenever Mara Jade kills him, I think. Or whenever he lunges at Mara Jade. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I should have expected something like that.
Yeah, I mean, also, spoilers for books that came out almost 30 years ago now.
No, but the book ends at the Battle of the Sluice Van shipyards.
Okay. Has George Cardis popped up yet?
No.
I think he's in that book.
How do we have a property where you have names like Thrawn, and you have George?
Well, first of all, it's not Thrawn's name. His name's like Mithrandow, something like that. It's like
that makes it even worse.
It's like 20 letters long, and he just shortened it to Thrawn for the Imperials.
That makes it even worse.
Probably, but
then again, you have to realize different species have different naming conventions.
He's a Chiss. They're from the unknown regions.
It's unknown.
They have unknowable mysteries, Chad and George.
Okay. Lando Carlesian, George.
There's also Ben Kenobi. That's a regular.
You mean Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Who goes by Ben.
Luke.
Luke is the book of Luke.
Owen.
Luke, that's a biblical name.
Yes, Owen. Now,
Baru. That was popular back in the 60s, I think, among women with beehive haircuts, maybe. I'm totally making that up. I have no idea.
Owen, if you find somebody named Baru, you just know it's a match made in heaven.
Yep.
Just don't drink the blue milk, though. It's probably gone bad.
Probably.
I don't know. Might get a bit toasty.
I always like the supposed action figures for Uncle Owen and Aunt Baru, where they're just charred skeletons.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of other normal names, like Sheev. I mean, I work with a guy named Sheev. I don't. Somehow I used to work with two people named Star. I don't know how the hell that happened.
Still one.
There's still one, yeah, but like that's not a common name. Like, there's no one else there named Bobbie. That's a common name. Like Star. There are two girls on my team named Madeline.
Pryor.
No.
One of them a clone.
No. Well, I don't think so. I mean, you never know. It's in the 6th day. I can't look for little dots above her eye. See which generation she is.
Inside their eyelid.
Yeah, that's right. I only saw that movie one time.
I've seen it more than once. It's kind of entertaining.
It's not a bad movie or anything. I just only saw it one time.
Well, I like the plot twist in that movie, where because you're following Arnold in the 6th day.
Oh yeah.
How you're not following the original.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but they also made him so he doesn't have the defects. So because they replaced him, they didn't want anyone to be able to tell. So yeah.
Man, we are just spoiling so much right now.
Well, this is an Arnold movie from like 2006.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, I'll go ahead and spoil End of Days while we're at it. The days didn't end. Arnold becomes the host for the devil at the end of the movie after what's his name gets killed, and then he gets killed or threw himself on a sword.
Yeah.
I don't watch it once, do you? Arnold's early 2000s movies weren't really doing it for me.
They're iffy.
We were a long way from Commando and Raw Deal. And
you want to spoil a Commando for everybody?
He kills a guy with a steam pipe.
And then
throws it through his chest, and the guy's wearing a mesh suit that should have stopped it, along with, everything in his torso. And then, hits it with, "Let off some steam, Bennett." Yeah. Commando is great in its absurdity.
Also has one of the Critical Role cast members in it.
Alyssa Milano. She's the daughter.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking a different movie. Might be a different movie.
I don't think anyone in that movie is young enough to be in Critical Role, unless there's some really old people in Critical Role I don't know about, because I don't watch it.
Hold on.
But anyway, so you plan on reading... What is the name of the middle book? I can never remember it.
I don't know, honestly. I was going to start reading it, but I haven't got to it yet.
No.
You got the whole original Tron trilogy, right? I believe I got that for you. For Christmas.
I have that. I have a lot of other books to read.
There's a word for buying books that you don't end up reading. It's a Japanese word. I don't know what it is, but...
What is it with other languages having words that English doesn't have?
But I've seen videos on it. People are like, there's some people are like, it's
Oh,
okay, that's fine. Don't stop buying books, because the books you own also say something about it, because you intended on reading them. It talks about your interest.
I feel like a fool now.
Hang on, and then we'll get to that. And then other people are like, no, stop buying books if you're not reading them. You're just wasting money and trees. So,
Totally had what movie she was in wrong. Ashley Johnson was in Lionheart with Jean-Claude Van Damme. The one where he leaves the French Foreign Legion, I think it was, and enters the underground fight ring to try and support his brother-in-law, his brother's widow, and their kid.
So across his various movies, what's he in? 3 underground fighting tournaments I can recall. That one, the
Bloodsport.
Kumite and Bloodsport.
The Bloodsport wasn't underground.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it wasn't literally underground.
The reason
it was in a back alley.
The reason he was being hunted was because he went AWOL, not because it was illegal.
I know, but it's also an unsanctioned tournament.
You know, Bloodsport was originally supposed to be based off a true story, but the true story was actually a made-up story by a
That's what I
guy.
heard.
Yeah.
Well, no, I watched
Based on a true story, based on a false story.
But then also in The Quest with Roger Moore, where he goes to like Tibet or something. And he's trying to fight for like a 20-pound gold dragon, which Roger Moore's character tries to steal. So instead, he like tries to fight for Roger Moore to not be executed, and has to fight this giant Mongolian guy at the end. Obviously wins. He's just telling the whole story to some guy in a pub in Boston as an old man.
That's what I do.
I saw that movie at the Astro. Also want to watch that movie one time.
Oh yeah, you know, the Bloodsport being based on a true story. I watched an entire video about the guy. That's not even his most outlandish claim.
I might have seen that movie. I don't know.
Is his name Frank Dukes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What? No. What do you mean?
Yeah, they claim to invent Velcro or something.
By the way, funny thing, Frank Dukes also wrote The Quest.
Of course he did.
Or story by Frank Dukes.
Oh my god.
No. Frank Dukes fighting in underground tournaments, special forces. Also worked for the CIA.
Well, sure. I mean, that's like Steven Seagal's life, right?
Yeah.
It's that final chapter where he moves to Russia.
With his where he's the master of Aikido, the art of falling down or making people fall down.
Aren't all martial arts the art of making people fall down?
Well, what is it they?
Some more forcibly than others.
They say what jujitsu is the art of folding people or folding clothing with people in them. But no, like some of that Aikido stuff, like I can see some of it working, but like some of it is, I mean, you can tell it, you know, like it's just like somebody like touching somebody and they just like fall, and it's like obviously you get somebody, you know, that's not just a puppet.
I love watching fake martial arts.
So you like watching Dragon Ball Z is what I hear.
That's why you watch Bruce Lee if you want to see real martial arts.
Yes. And see him actually rip out Chuck Norris's hair.
Yeah. Or if you want to see him actually break a guy's rib cage.
Yeah, that too.
And Enter the Dragon. There's against O'Hara. This guy, he is responsible for his sister's death, so he's fighting him in the tournament, and he's got him beat. And O'Hara gets back up and like busts a couple glass bottles, and you know even the guy running the thing is like, O'Hara, you know, don't do that. And Bruce Lee sees him and like they have to slow the footage down, and for the shot they're like, all right, we want this to look authentic, so I want you to really kick this guy. And he's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah. So like, okay. And so he like gets a good running start and kicks him right dead in the chest. And whenever he falls over, he knocks over 4 guys behind him. And then Bruce, you know, the next part was fake for the movie. He jumps up on top of him and right down into his, I'm assuming right down into his rib cage. And then like snaps his neck. But the actual, like whenever he hit him, drilled him with that kick, yeah, he broke the guy's ribs. Yeah. Yeah, some of Bruce Lee's movies, they have to slow down the footage so he looks like he's moving at normal speed. Because he was that fast.
Yep.
Yeah, it was something else. Yeah, we went to go watch that in Bloomington. That theater's closed now, do you know that?
Which one?
The one over by the mall? It closed not long after we watched that movie.
Wait, the place where we went to watch all the classic movies closed?
Yeah, I know it would have been after, whichever, between that or G.I. Joe, whichever one we watched second, it was like a week or 2 after that it closed down.
I think it was.
Is that, yeah.
I think it was that one.
Is that where we went to go watch the Wrath of Khan?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
Although you did remind me of something.
Oh.
But talking about Bruce Lee, more related to his son.
Oh, Brandon Lee?
Yeah, they're remaking The Crow.
Yeah, I've heard it's
Saw the trailer.
really bad.
I'll watch it. Looks interesting. Looks actiony.
I was really hoping you were going to talk about Bruce Leroy so we could talk about The Last Dragon.
Eating no provocation for that.
Is there one of the like many Crow sequels that has the Furlong as
Furlong is in part 4.
as the Crow?
Yes. David Boreanaz, is that his last name? Was in Angel, as Angel.
I think that's his last name, yeah.
He's in Bones.
Yeah.
He was the villain. Like, that was not his proudest hour, I'll tell you that. It was bad. That movie just got awful all the way through. Like The Crow Part 2 was still good, decent. 3, like, you could tell they tried, it just wasn't great. 4, they were just like, all right, could we pay you guys in cocaine or something? It was bad.
You know, The Crow is just a redone version of the Wraith with Charlie Sheen.
The Wraith, wow, a killer car movie.
No,
Yes.
it's not a killer car. The guy kills people with his car.
Well, right, but I mean, he's like one with the car, right?
Yes,
or something.
he's a Wraith, and he can...
Because they kill him towards the beginning. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and the kind of neat thing with that is that the car he drives is a what do they call it, a concept car for Plymouth.
Yeah.
It's a turbocharged, just some random car. Yes, and then he got killed by a bunch of racers, and he would go and race them, and then when he would win the race, he would always like fly ahead, and then they like would come around a corner, and he'd be like parked sideways. They would crash into him and
blow up, and then he would like reassemble or reappear or whatever.
I think I tried to watch this movie once.
It's a good movie.
Notice my word "tried to."
It's a good movie. Do not talk about Wraith. It's a good.
That's an HBO classic. One of those movies that like was on all the time on HBO. Yeah.
I can't say if I've ever watched a movie that I would say was outright horrible.
Bobbie has one you can watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
He probably has like a collection.
He does.
Yeah. Speaking of cars and concept cars, you know, in Total Recall, the weird-looking cars they're driving around in most movies, those are real cars. Like, I don't mean like they made them for the movie. Like that was a car that someone sold at some point in time, and they were like, "Let's use those. They look kind of futuristic, but you know, not." So yeah, unlike Idiocracy, where they tried to find something that looked futuristic but stupid, because you know the plot of the movie, and they came across Crocs before they were popular. And so they're like, let's put those in the movie because they look futuristic but really stupid. And then like a month before the movie came out, they became really popular. And they're like, yep, this movie's a prophecy, not a comedy.
Well, it's still becoming a prophecy.
Oh, and the Crocs are still popular.
Well, now,
and they still look stupid.
And now people are decorating their Crocs.
Yeah.
Why?
Now you need to get the one guy to run for president.
Macho.
Is it Hector or Dwayne? Is it Dwayne?
Hector.
Yeah. Hector something Mountain Dew Camacho, if I remember right.
Yeah.
When he had to address the House of Representing.
With the machine gun.
Yes, that was to get their attention when they wouldn't listen to him.
And
then they're in the presidential motorcade.
It's
sitting there as he's driving the motorcycle, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Yes, and I mean it's possible Terry Crews could definitely run for president. I mean,
yeah,
I would vote for him.
I'd want to hear what his platforms were first, but
look, he is actually a smart guy.
I know. I'd like to hear his platforms, though. Just to be sure.
Well, he's going to do shirtless dancing in the Oval Office. You know,
as long as it's televised. I mean,
that'd be this presidential address.
State of the Union.
All right.
Here's the State of the Union.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There is a.
This is pretty tight.
Was it Old Spice commercial with him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they hooked up all the leads to him and like he's using his muscle contractions to like play the drums.
Yes.
Okay. I want to make sure I wasn't going crazy and misremembering this.
Yeah. So Owen, you should definitely read the other 2 books in the Tron trilogy.
From books to movies.
Terry Crews commercial.
Well, I wanted to kind of bring us back to where we started on that one.
Oh yeah, we were talking about.
Yeah, we're into the book section, but we're back to movies.
We really like movies, folks.
Back to movies. The Tron trilogy. It's pretty good.
Yeah, did I ever tell you my experience reading it? I actually read The Last Command first because I didn't realize it was part of a trilogy. Someone just bought me the book, and I'm like, well, I kind of wonder how everyone got to where they are in this book, but okay, let's go for it.
I actually did up another Star Wars book. Instead, that one was a quadrilogy. I unknowingly got the last one.
I'm drawing a blank.
It was
Republic Commandos?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
didn't read
I
those.
accidentally bought Imperial Commando.
No.
I didn't know it was part of the...
Yeah, that'll happen. I did that with Dune. Skipped over the second one, Dune Messiah, right?
Maybe.
and went straight to Children of Dune. I picked up on everything. I was like, well, it's interesting where everyone's at here in this book, but okay. Because I'd read the first book.
Yeah.
And so I read the third one. Then I was like, I must have missed something in here somewhere. Then the Sci-Fi Channel made their movie, or 5-part series, or 4-part series. However many it was, they combined Dune Messiah and Children of Dune.
Into Children of Dune.
And like one episode is Dune Messiah. The rest was Children of Dune. I was like, I apparently made the right choice. However, that's what they're going to base the third movie on, so I really should read it. So I can see what's different. See if they do things like just completely leave out the Spacing Guild. I mean, I like Villeneuve's movies, but like, there's also some problems with his.
Yep.
So.
All right. So, anything else on the book front?
I have started reading a book about alternate histories, which had like a 20-page introduction explaining that even the exercise of contemplating alternate histories is stupid because what can happen does happen. He's like, but follow me anyway, and I was like, well, that's a hell of an intro.
Well, wait,
is one of them if Hitler made it to art school?
I don't know yet. I'm only on the third thing, because one of them was like, what if the Vikings had actually stayed for a while in North America? And his contention is ultimately, whenever Columbus got here, he would have been greeted by people on horseback with metal weapons.
That would have been different.
But disease is still the huge X factor. They would have gained some disease resistance by intermarrying with the Vikings.
Yeah.
However, the Vikings hadn't yet been exposed to smallpox, which was the main killer. So it's a debate of, would their other immune system have helped them, similar to the Europeans, survive smallpox or not? Because that would have been a determination. There was that one. Right now I'm in the middle of the one that I'm sure is, what if Alexander the Great's empire hadn't broken up? But for each of these, he has to explain like what did happen and what parts matter, and then what could have. And the whole Alexander the Empire's empire breaking up, that's a hell of a story in and of itself. And Ptolemy definitely looks like the smartest dude in the room there, because when it came time to divide everything up, because Alexander was dead, he's like, I'll take Egypt. And that was like the richest province. And he just stayed there and let everyone else fight it out, basically, and would occasionally back people from afar. He was one of the only 2 guys that survived and died in his bed. Everyone else met their end in a rather violent manner. And all this was just fighting over the regency. They all were going to turn it over to Alexander's son. This wasn't even to be the king. This is just to be the regent. So finally one of them was like, screw this, and just killed Alexander's son. He's like, I'm tired of waiting. So yeah, it was a bloodbath. And Ptolemy not only survived, his people, his progeny, reigned until the end of Egypt being an independent country, until Rome conquered them. Cleopatra is his descendant. And to put an end to certain things on the internet, they were all Greek. None of them were African in terms of biologically, because they were the Targaryens before the Targaryens. I'll put it to you that way, for those of you who read Game of Thrones and how they kept the bloodline pure. Yeah. So, interesting book so far, though. Yeah. That's all I got on books. Joe, you got anything? It's okay if
No.
answers no.
So what's the next category? Is it gaming or is it?
Jim, the next category is gaming. I believe you have something you want to talk about.
Is it what's on the table?
Well, yeah, no, I can say that
Literally and figuratively?
I can say that was one of my latest acquisitions. Actually, Bobbie got that for me. Actually, still got to send you money for that. $10. But
That's right, I forgot about that.
I may do that on an unboxing, because it seems to be complete. So it seems like it has all the
Yeah,
stuff
whenever
in
the
it.
guy showed me the inside, like, it looked complete to the best of my knowledge, so.
And yeah, the game that I got was, or that he picked up for me, is Tron Deadly Disc for the Intellivision. Yes, with real swishing noises. That's one of the
Awesome.
That's actually one of the bullet points on there was.
Does it have a voiceover by Bruce
Action
Boxleitner?
sounds, swish a flying disc.
Do they have like a 8-bit version of Bruce Boxleitner's voice as Tron?
I don't know if it may. Some of those the Intellivision had a voice modulator that you could attach to it. Not all the games were compatible with it. Let's see if it says that. No, it does not appear so, but yeah, some of them actually would use the voice modulator to actually have dialogue in it. Now it's all synthesized dialogue, so it's all like robot.
Well, I mean, it's kind of fitting.
But
Yes.
Pretty sure that's not the thing Bruce Boxleitner is most well known for, by the way. Pretty sure that's Babylon 5.
Probably.
The other things, because I don't want to mention, because stuff that I'll be getting later, I'll just mention what I got now. I did buy another Virtual Boy game, because I like how on eBay, if you look at something, like, somehow the eBay seller can, like, send you an offer, even though you've not even...
If you favorite it, they can.
Yeah.
And it's a setting you can set it to do automatically if you want to.
Yeah, so they sent me an offer, and I really didn't get a good deal on it, but it was... Because after I looked, I was like, well, there was a couple that I could have got for about $5 or $6 cheaper, but I was like, the game that I got was Red Alarm, which is one that I mentioned in my Virtual Boy review that is supposed to be like Star Fox type graphics, but they're all just lines. So there's no solid planes in the game. So I'm trying to know where you're at in a 3D thing when everything's just wireframe. After a while, it just looks like endless lines going everywhere. Cause,
It's probably got to be headache-inducing.
well, the Virtual Boy's headache-inducing.
True.
But one thing that was unique about the one I bought is it had the original Blockbuster sticker on the back.
Oh, there you go.
And it was from Ohio, so not very far from here. So.
Yes. Where is it?
Ohio.
What were we joking earlier about?
Yes, about our distance. Well, I don't know.
Although I think that was in the other video, wasn't it?
It was in a video.
Because we're all in northern Montana.
Yeah. Yeah. This is really an underground nuclear bunker.
It's a silo.
Yeah. There's an ICBM in the next room.
Man, I love all that. I love all that radiation leaking.
Well, it's lead lined.
The third, my third arm that I'm.
No one goes into that room, Owen. Don't worry about it.
On gaming front. Oh yeah, if you didn't hear, the Xbox 360 store just closed down not just a few weeks ago.
Which we thought it's kind of funny because like all the Nintendo stores have pretty much shut down except for this one that's on the Switch.
Yeah.
They shut down the 3DS one. I mean, obviously the Wii U and the Wii have been shut down for a while. Yet the 360's like, yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't even know it was still open.
Yeah.
You know, like I might have at least considered going on there just to see what was still there that I never bought. But you know, since I haven't turned on my 360 in 2 years, like the odds of me actually playing anything I would have bought, pretty slim.
I don't know where mine's at.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's at. I just haven't turned it on.
Any physical games or digital games you already had are still on there, but can't buy anything else. Games, DLC, whatever.
What makes me wonder why get rid of something like that or make it just open? I mean, at some point you're just like,
you would.
I don't know I don't know where the issue with maintenance comes in because if the system's stable and it's working, I mean, I guess security maybe there's people hacking the system, hacking their 360s to somehow.
Yeah, well, I mean, because your payment info is on there. I don't know. Like without knowing the architecture on the back end, I would have to think there's a way to just merge it with the other ones that are still running.
Yeah.
You know, somehow, right? Because I mean, you're connecting to it via the internet. You know, you're just logging into Microsoft. Like I would think there'd have to be a way to do that.
Put out a 360 update to send it to the news store instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all you'd have to do.
Like I said, I would think so anyway.
Then you'd have to, move all the DLC and everything over to that news store.
I miss the days where you didn't have to worry about all that crap, where you just had a game and you had a console.
These days?
You mean what game was released was the one you got, not, hey, we're going to finish it 2 weeks after release.
Yeah.
Well, some of the games do that. There's actually, some games will actually have versions on them, so they fix bugs and different things, so...
But it was the glory days in which you didn't have, the game you got was the game you got.
Yeah,
Any
instead they
bugs.
just released expansions.
Yep.
Or or you had to
Or
pay
sequels.
or you had to pay to unlock stuff that's already on the disc. It's like, we're not releasing anything new, but if you want that extra feature,
Oh, or like the promo PC games you get, like Wolfenstein, like the whole game's on there, but you had to like pay somehow or another to unlock the rest of it.
Or Sonic and Knuckles, you literally just plug in something extra.
if you plug in one of the, I think there's like 3 or 4 Sonic games you can plug into it to get. Actually, no, you can't plug in the first game. Weirdly enough, the first game has no compatibility with the second, the third, and I think are the ones that all have compatibility with it. Like I was showing, I was just thinking some going down that road. Oh, DLC. I think one of the first kind of like what the F DLCs ever released was the horse armor for one of the
Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
If only that was as bad as it got.
4. It was the 4th one.
horse armor.
It was what, $5 for it, and everyone bought it. It seemed.
Well, yeah, because it's like, look at this. I can buy this thing that makes my horse. I don't even think it did anything. I think it was just a.
Didn't change the stats. It just gave them a cool look.
If only that's as bad as it got. Especially with Bethesda.
That's where it started getting bad.
Well, loot boxes. I mean, gaming nowadays with loot boxes and all that stuff, it's just like, it's gambling.
I think some countries have determined that it is gambling.
Well,
so
I mean, it most certainly is.
Yeah.
And Bethesda back then was just horse armor, but now they're charging you to mod your game.
I honestly thought you were going to say they were just horsing around, but
but yeah, you can still mod your game on consoles if it's a Bethesda game. You just have to pay them.
Yeah, it would be nice if you could pay them to have a game that it wasn't buggy as shit.
They're not bugs, they're features.
You mean like being able to somehow get your horse to go like on an incline like this and then have it fast travel for you or it'll fly across the sky?
Yeah, there's something you do with that, and then it just suddenly sends you all over the world, and you like find all the cities in like 5 minutes.
Because somehow, like when you do that, you like get off your horse, and then like you can just end up like running at light speed across the map. But you're not on the ground. You're like elevated, so you can just.
Yeah.
You just end up going everywhere, and yeah.
And then also the fact that horses can go up near vertical faces while you can't.
Yeah, there's that.
I don't think that's just a Bethesda thing, though. I think it's in a couple other games, too.
I mean...
Though I do like the accuracy of being able to put a bucket on the storekeep so that you can...
steal everything without being caught?
That's not even the worst thing. Like, I play Skyrim, and it's got... where, like, the giants, whenever they hit you, you just go flying into the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that can happen.
Hey, wanted to see the world. Too bad we didn't say how to see it, You'd be alive to see it.
They'd be alive to see it, just not, survive the experience.
Fallout 4 has a way to where you can have a fully automatic Fat Boy launcher. There's a way to where you can actually make it to where it fires mini nukes. Like, full auto, hundreds a second.
See, that's
try not to kill yourself with
I was
it.
going to say, that's like in MechWarrior 2, there's a code to put in to drop a nuclear bomb on the battlefield, but it's a suicidal move. You can't get out of the blast radius, remember right?
Well,
the blast radius is yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's like in battle tanks. You have the nuclear knights, where you just anytime you're playing like the arena battle, you just go like you have to like try to destroy each other's bases. All you do is like, you always want to go with the nuclear knights. You just go in, drop a nuke in their base, and drive off. More than likely, you wouldn't get far enough away to avoid the blast, but it's all right.
Yeah.
You're fighting over the very limited resource of women, and what's the best weapon to use? Nukes.
Well, love that radiation.
Yeah. Well,
Radiation doesn't cause sterility.
I don't know. That's not what Mad Max Fury Road says.
Anything else in gaming?
In more tabletop gaming news,
Yes.
over the weekend with GenCon, so last weekend at this point,
Yep.
Cubicle 7 actually won an Innie, which is an award for tabletop gaming, I guess. But they got it for Warhammer Wrath and Glory Threat Assessment Xenos, which was their big release for this last weekend.
Was it for a longest title for a book?
No. No. Because the title of the book is Threat Assessment Xenos.
Wrath of Glory, Threat Assessment Schemes.
No, I'm including the system it's part of.
I know, you do that.
Yeah.
Like you don't just call the D&D Player's Handbook Player's Handbook.
There's a lot of people that do.
They're fools. You need to know what it's a Player's Handbook to. You know?
Especially for me.
And which edition?
Us in the video gaming world, everything that there's just mountains of players' handbooks. Well, not anymore. Actually, I think Prima stopped making the players' handbooks because people are like, "There's this thing called the internet. I don't need to look at this book."
Yeah. But no, I found out about it winning the Innie because I had decided to go to their booth to buy it. And they were sold out because they'd won the Innie. So I went with...
You sure they didn't win the Innie because it was a book that was good enough to sell out?
It's probably that, but like once they won it, then they sold out.
That would never influence me to buy a book.
It does other people.
I know, but I'm just saying I'm not.
I need it though, because I have a lot of the other books for Wrath and Glory, and I do actually like running Wrath and Glory.
Sure.
But no, I had to settle for Redacted Records 2.
That is a bunch of blacked out pages.
No. No.
Wow, man. I love all these words. The and the.
But no, it expands on some of the archetypes for Wrath and Glory. More archetypes for the Sisters of Battle and the Cult Mechanicus. However you want to refer to them. The cyborgs from Mars.
The Adeptus Mechanicus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyborg from Mars. What was it? I was thinking the biker mice from Mars.
There's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Which I believe was originally created to try to compete with the Ninja Turtles.
Probably.
To make toys. They're like anything that's like, you know.
I mean, it did have something Ninja Turtles did not have.
Bikes.
Yep.
And mice in Mars.
Well, there were rodents at least.
Yeah.
Was Splinter a mouse or a rat? He was a rat.
He was a rat.
Yeah.
Because that's how he was able to get controlled by the Rat King.
They also had Yojimbo.
Usagi Yojimbo?
Yep.
Isn't he actually like a separate property entirely? They just crossed over occasionally?
Kinda, yes. Maybe. We don't know for sure.
Well, does Eric Larson own him or not?
I don't know.
Well, that's kind of...
You have a phone, you can look it up.
I could, but I'm pretty confident in my answer. So...
Still, rodent.
Are rabbits rodents?
I believe so. I don't know.
I
I'm
might
not a
have-
zoologist.
I might have to look that up here in a moment. But anyway, so we were up there, like Chad said. We've done a bunch of videos breaking down what happened and everything. Well, I did. We did several that didn't make it, and then I had to redo them. So I did not mention the Wrath of Glory book.
They are not rodents. They are lagomorphs.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Not the Lagomorph part. I couldn't remember that part, but yeah. So, Chad, do you have anything else? Like, what did you play? Anything that you didn't talk about in the one video you're in?
Don't think so.
Did you play anything? Period.
Nope.
So then the answer's no.
That's what I said. No. I mean,
So you
saw
said
some
you-
nice stuff, bought some nice stuff.
Ever since I stopped playing HeroClix, I haven't played any actual games at Gen Con. Like, I'd buy the games and bring them home and play them, but I would not play any there. The only one I think that I played besides HeroClix was the Oregon Trail. Card game,
Yeah.
HeroClix, good memories.
Where I did not,
Yep.
where I did not die of dysentery. I died while fording the river. Everyone else died of dysentery.
Yeah, I actually played in a BattleTech game of sorts.
Congratulations.
And Brian did.
I dipped out early because I was tired and sore.
Yeah, I want to thank you for that.
Wow.
You're welcome.
I had to pay for that ticket twice.
No, not that. The
Yeah.
one you were going to get. You said you were just going to give that to someone else there.
And no one else showed up.
Anyway,
I just gave it to the organizer, said I wanted them to be out $6.
they should have let you play 2 mechs then.
I didn't want to play 2 mechs. No, I did play 2 mechs already. I didn't want to play 4 mechs.
Should have played 4 mechs.
That's all right.
Played a full length.
They were clan mechs and playing stars. 5.
Could have played a star then.
No.
You just play 2 mechs, 4 mechs, 6 mechs $1.
Yeah.
All for BattleTech, stand up and holler.
Yeah. So Chad dipped out on me on that one.
I was tired and sore.
After having to rebuy our tickets. I think I told that story, but just in case I didn't. So I had our badges shipped to my friend Chris's house. We stayed at his place when we were going to GenCon.
Yep.
And somehow he misplaced and or probably threw them away.
Yeah.
So it turns out, and this is going to be in the next year's GenCon videos, now that we know, it turns out you can get your badges replaced by buying them again.
Paying full price, not even a discount.
Well, of course not.
Even if they're sold out, they will resell you your ticket.
Yeah, that was the part we weren't sure about, since they were sold out.
Because it says you can rebuy it if available.
Yeah, and we took it if available to me. Well, if you're sold out, you're out of luck. But their main forum guy, Mike, I want to say his last name is Boozer, actually, posted, the night before Gen Con, if you've got a lost or stolen badge, we can resell it to you. And I was like, well, he wouldn't post this, because it's been sold out for a week. He wouldn't post it now unless he could actually do it. So, yeah, so we got in line and we rebought our badges, which thankfully, they've gone to digital tickets for most things. So we didn't have to rebuy those tickets because they have the same barcode.
Yeah.
So, which is good because that would have been another $120 each for True Dungeon. Yeah.
And you would have been SOL for the costume contest.
Yeah, probably. Well, I don't know, because if they'd resell them to us, True Dungeon would have sold out too. If they would have resold us those tickets, why wouldn't they resell us the others? Except for the fact that the others don't actually have a cost. Because I think the guy next to me was dealing with that. How do you rebuy a ticket that doesn't have a cost? And they didn't have an answer to that question. They couldn't, in the system, there was a log jam of but you have to rebuy it. It's but it doesn't have a cost, so I can't resell it to you because you're not rebuying it. And the guy was like, so what do I do? And they're like, we don't know. Sounds like you're out of luck, friend. So yeah, that's why I was dealing with Methuselah, who kept misspelling my email address, even though I finally just showed him my phone on how to do it. And then after 2 more tries, oh wait, it's here. I'm doing something wrong. And I was like, so Chris was able to go through the whole line and get up next to me by that point.
Yep.
Because I was like, yeah, I didn't want to say it too loudly, even though the guy probably couldn't hear me. Yeah, so I've literally spent this entire time just trying to get my email in, 10 minutes.
And while they were doing that, I went and got my coupon book.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting experience. So we'll know that for next year. We'll put that in the tips and tricks.
Now, the solution here, Bobbie, is to ship it to someone who has never forgotten their badge.
Yourself.
Yeah, I've never forgotten my badge.
I was going to say to me.
No.
The thing is that I was there, so I was talking to Megan about it, and she said, I just said, I get why you did it, but you would, say if you had drove up there and you realized you didn't have your badge, you could have just, I know this would have sucked, but you could have just drove back and got it.
Well, I know from experience, I don't like driving back to Lagodi during Gen Con, so.
You said it.
We're going to have to bleep that out.
No, we're not. I do the editing.
Yeah, and he gave me a pointed look, because last year I had to leave early.
Yeah. So, anyway, because as Chris advised me, I had one fewer people that was willing to drive back with me at that point, because Brad went with me last year to come back, and that was Chris's way of saying, don't look at me.
Yep.
So,
That's Chris's way of saying, I'm going to get some sleep.
Which, fair enough. Can't say I blame him. But yeah, so that sucked. The badge thing. I mean, the other thing sucked too, but there, like, at least I kind of understood why. Yeah, there was something else I was going to mention, though, for Gen Con. Because I was going to do a whole other video, because there's some shit I want to talk about, and I should have written it down. So there might be another Gen Con video, unless I can think of it here in the next, 5 seconds. Which I think I've talked about, the main thing being the costume contest thing. Like, they really need to, book the next room for a half an hour or something.
Past the end of the thing.
Yeah, because every year they open the show with, all right, now no flash photography, which that part's understandable, I'm not complaining about that, because you're going to have plenty of time to check out the people in costume in the next room. And every year, without fail, whoever's got the room after that is in there, telling people, you've got to get out of here. You need to go. You need to leave. We have to come in here. And we're like, the costume contest entrants aren't even all in this room yet, dude. I want to get some pictures of them. And so it's a fight with them. So this year, they decided to up their chicanery. They just blocked the door so no one could even get in the room.
Yep.
So yeah. So the costume contest people were in the room, not knowing that no one was going to be coming in there to take their pictures, because the other jackwads. So yeah. There was a woman behind me, saying something. I was like, don't listen to them. They're just liars. They say this every year. Just follow us. They're going to be out in the hallway, I guess. So yeah. One of the bigger premiere events at the con, and they can't somehow line that up.
It's always guaranteed to be sold out.
Yeah.
And then still have more people show up, hoping other people don't show up.
Well, and they don't.
And, to get plenty of room.
There's always about 100 seats left over in the back.
Oh, yeah.
So people get tickets, then don't turn them back in, even though they're free tickets. Yeah, there's definitely some things like that. There was something else I was going to talk about, but I don't remember what the hell it was now. So I should have written it down.
That we need 2 booths for Wild Bills, one inside and one outside.
Well, that would be nice, because they had one inside at Comic-Con this year.
Yeah.
So,
but they also had food inside at Comic-Con.
Well, that's true, because I don't think the food trucks were out there, were they?
I don't think they were.
So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. If I think of the other thing for Gen Con, I'll put it in another video. Because I still have way more Gen Con videos to make. Because I've got a mountain of BattleTech stuff to talk about. Got some Terraforming Mars stuff to talk about. Talk about the Dragonlance book once I get done reading it. Show off the cool little pin that I got. Oh, and this is some book news I totally forgot. Dragonlance. For those of you who thought, oh, well, this is the end. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman are probably done writing books. You would be wrong. They announced at Gen Con they're making another Dragonlance trilogy. So I guess whatever problems they had with Wizards of the Coast have been settled. They're just going to make those books until they die.
Cool.
Which is great. It is also, unfortunately, probably not too far in the future.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, they're kind of getting up there. But the books are still great, so I don't care. And they seem to love doing it, so good on them. Yeah. The next trilogy is supposed to be about, this will mean nothing to you, probably. Or you guys, because you don't read the books. But it's supposed to be about Huma, Dragonbane, and Magus. The people who fought Takesis a couple hundred years in the past. In the setting. So.
Joke's on you, I read the first one.
Oh, hey, so you might know who I'm talking about.
Of a trilogy. I don't.
Joke's on you. I've read one of them somewhere in there. Dragons of Autumn Twilight.
That's the first book in the setting.
I think it was Dragons of Autumn Twilight.
Was the first book in the setting.
Possibly. I read one of them.
That probably mentioned Huma and Magus, I think.
It's been years ago. I remember there was a gnome submarine. And a guy in ill-fitting armor.
Yeah. No submarine on Twilight.
It was Dragon Rider.
Yeah. That's Sturm.
Awesome.
Yeah. He has a heroic death. So yeah. That's all I got for gaming at the moment. Do you guys have anything else? I'll talk about the Terraforming Mars stuff once I actually get the chance to use it.
I mean,
it fits in gaming and miscellaneous at the same time.
What?
That I get into trying my hand at making terrain for gaming.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm going to make a 36-inch diameter arena for Arena Rex.
So like a Coliseum type arena?
Yep.
You just can't get the Lego Coliseum?
No.
That's a shame, because there's that one instruction of build this arch 284 times.
Well, apparently the easy way people have taken to make these arenas for Arena Rex before is the Playmobil Coliseum Arena.
Okay. Sure.
Which goes for at the cheapest $150 on eBay because it's no longer actually sold by Playmobil.
Well, I mean...
And I am getting...
Cheaper than the Lego Coliseum.
I got free foam from my friend Luke. Thank you. And then I just needed, a knife and tape measure, which I found out there's these... If you want to get a circle, you want it measured to exact length or diameter, they make these roto measures, like tape measure. There's a hole in the middle of the case that you can put a pin through to stick it in one spot.
Hold on. Which measurement are you primarily concerned with?
Diameter. To make it a actual proper circle.
Okay, so all you need is to have that to get the radius. Have something you can stick into the foam, cut your length of string or something, the exact length, and put your spike on the outside and go. You don't need special tools.
That sounds like a lot of trouble.
That's like basic geometry.
That also relies on me, like, being able to accurately measure the string and get everything there taken care of. I went the route where I can, blame other people if it turns out wrong.
It sounds like you went the gonna spend money route.
Because
I'm going to guess that tool costs more than a piece of string and like 2 paper clips.
Don't have string. I have paper clips.
Okay.
I'm still willing to bet that the string is going to cost less than this device that you're talking about.
The device was like $15, $20.
String's cheaper than that.
When he said I have no strings, all I think is Ultron.
I could have just give you the string that was holding my badge for True Dungeon.
Is it?
It's like this long.
It doesn't tell me if it's 18 inches.
This is exactly what people tune in for.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is close to 2 feet.
Speaking of Ultron, I never said this. What the hell happened to Ultron in the MCU? One of the big villains, he just dies in one movie.
Yeah.
Well,
because he didn't know how to use the internet.
I'm personally pulling for a comeback on that one.
Yeah.
Well, because he's always supposed to have a backup.
Yes. Comic book Ultron is essentially unbeatable. Because he has a central core somewhere, no one knows where the hell it is.
Or if it's even on Earth.
And I'm pretty sure it is. And
it's on the moon.
No, I think in the one comic that talked about it, like it's a what if. There's some hole in Russia that's like the deepest was ever dug in the earth. It's like a mile below that. So yeah, like no one's gonna look at it. So the central core, once one of his bodies dies, it's like in contact, so it knows like how it was killed and just pops out another one. That's why the different Ultrons have different personalities. Because like once it separates itself from the central core, it like starts developing on its own. Yeah. So
yep.
That's why at least one of them turned at least not evil. I'm not gonna say good, but it like fought the next Ultron. Like, no, you're not gonna kill our dad. Hank Pym, not Tony Stark.
That weird way where it merged like with Hank Pym and.
Yeah, then there's that one, and there's one that at one point Vision went to go find him in a jazz club, soaking up the vibes. I am dead serious. That's an actual like storyline from the comics.
Yeah.
I don't know the context. I only have that part of the storyline.
Why did they never make that Ultron for HeroClix?
I don't know. That Ultron was awesome. Trench coat and a top hat, sitting there drinking bourbon. And Vision's like, "What are you doing? You can't even taste that." He's like, "I don't care. I'm sitting with sweet music. Hit me." And Vision's like, "I'm going to." So yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's the with all the weird characters they're making now with HeroClix. Like they made the Wolverine sitting in bed with the picture,
reminiscing over the picture of Gene and Scott there. Yeah. Yeah, the Iconics have led to some interesting stuff. There's D&D Iconics figures. But they're all monsters, so they should all actually be in scale for the game.
Well, now we got the Lego minifigs that are going to be D&D.
Yeah, there's the collectible minifigure set coming out. So, Owen, did you by any chance see that they put the promo back out for the D&D set?
What?
The Mimic?
No.
Yeah, they put it back out. Like after, sold out almost instantly. Like, I think it was last month they had it, if you bought it during that time period, they had it again. Like, yeah.
Man, now I feel scammed.
You probably should. I'd direct to Lego and be like, hey, look.
I bought this. Where's my promo?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm planning on buying the collectible minifigure set because I need figures for the set.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing the collectible minifig set.
Yeah, I looked at those. Some of those look pretty cool. Although the first guy doing a video on it was like, what's this guy? This is some kind of a something or another. And I'm just like, this is why I don't do videos about stuff I don't at least have marginal knowledge on. Like the guy Sarah and I were watching the video from last night doing the popcorn bucket for Alien Romulus. Like, he gets to one point like, I guess this is like the logo of the company or something in the movie. It's Weyland-Yutani. It says Weyland-Yutani on there. And I'm like, oh, this is one of those face grabber things. And I'm just like, oh my god. Like, why are you doing this video? You don't know the first damn thing about the Alien franchise. It is very clear. Like, I'm glad you're ecstatic for the popcorn buckets.
Well,
Like-
probably really ecstatic about the Dune buckets.
Yes, the Dune bucket, because he mentioned the popcorn bucket game, and I was like, I've got the feeling that entirely began with the Dune bucket.
I mean, and then you have the Deadpool Wolverine bucket.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, don't expect that from the Alien bucket. No. Not viable there. Yeah. I don't think I want to do the popcorn buckets. This looks like a xenomorph head that opens up and you can fill full of popcorn. So,
The perfect thing would be an alien Pez dispenser.
there you go. You're on to something there, Jim. Yeah, for the bucket, I would expect like the egg or something. That'd be great. Like,
Oh yeah,
open it up.
Hey, that'd be a great way to actually, if they were real, just like, oh, we got these popcorn buckets. Why is it all wet and gooey? I guess the butter. Don't worry about it. It just puts it directly down my throat. And my chest hurts.
don't worry, you can just use radiation to get rid of it.
Speaking of that, doesn't it seem like going through the chest cavity would be the dumbest place for an alien to try to burst out of, not just...
Yeah, and I just go a little bit farther south where there's nothing in the way.
Or a little further north and come out where your larynx is.
Yeah, although there it might kill you. Like before it ever hatches, because it might block your airway.
It's gonna kill you either way.
It's going to kill you once it gestates the hatch. It's in there while it's growing.
Yeah,
It doesn't then travel. It just
I meant
goes.
once it was grown, travel and go out.
Are you saying it should go out the rear?
Well, I mean, I wasn't saying that, but I suppose it could.
Ugh.
In Covenant, yeah, hatches out of the guy's back. So
It's not fixed directions.
no, I think the idea is it's safe there because your chest is essentially armored. Whereas if it's here, you could be like, well, screw you, and I don't need my lower organs once the acid begins to eat them.
You go to Alien 3 and you go to the dog origin for the xenomorph. It doesn't gestate and burst out. It sort of grows while inside the dog and it turns into it.
No, it bursts out.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
Yeah, because
It's been forever since I've seen the third one. It's my least liked one.
there's a whole scene that's why they switched it to the oxygen, because of this dog was like...
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, I don't want to see a dog suffer. That person, I don't care about them. Kid, we're...
Like an Alien versus Predator 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the kid gets a chest burster.
Yeah, whenever that happened, I was like, oh man, this movie's just going to go for it. And then the end of the movie, the maternity ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was something.
Yeah.
But you can't say that they didn't try something new. Something that...
Yeah, I mean, you had the Predator-Alien hybrid, which was a queen on top of all that. And then you had the Predator show up. The Predator's like, I'm here to kill the aliens. The people are like, well, help. Oh, fuck you, I'll kill you too. Just killing everything in its path. Not like the first movie where the Predator's like, hey, we should team up. you're the only one left of your people, and I'm the only one left of my people. Like, clearly we got some survival skills here. Come here, let me burn a tattoo into your forehead. Which that's actually from the Alien vs. Predator comics. So that part was comic.
You mean where it actually kind of makes sense that the predator's like, you're part of the hunting party now too.
Yeah, well, the initial Alien vs. Predator comic, there's a woman who survives some stuff and ends up with the predators.
Chico, something or other.
Yeah, and she ends up part of the tribe, and like they burn the tattoo into her forehead and everything. So that's what they do. And then like in the sequel series, you see her going in, and like some of the other predators, like dumb woman, like don't eat her for anything. She's just human, And yeah, she's around for one or two of the sequels.
Yeah. Apparently, for the predators, I think it's the females are bigger and stronger.
Could be. I don't know.
Well,
and much more dangerous.
Still better than what was it? The newest one of the newer Predator movies, the one where autism's a superpower.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I could see, that autism does give you some advantages over, in certain areas, but I don't think combat prowess is one of them.
You wouldn't think so. I mean, I'll give that movie credit for trying to advance the plot a little bit. To be like, okay, like maybe there's some reasons beyond hunting. Maybe the predator's actually after something. Maybe there's more than one group of predators, like in the last movie. Like it tried to expand things. I'll give it credit for that. Didn't expand it ways I would have necessarily, but it at least tried.
I mean, it gave us potential for a sequel to the movie, which we haven't gotten.
I wouldn't expect it either.
I was kind of wanting to see, humans in predator armor.
Didn't Shane Black direct the last one?
I believe.
Prey?
No, not Prey.
Yeah.
The last one actually named with Predator in the title.
The Predator, I think it was.
Yeah, Predator, Predators, or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's Predators.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't
I think
seen
he
Prey
did.
yet.
Wait, did it take place around Christmas?
It might have, but it's funny because Shane Black is in Predator.
Yeah.
He's one of the commandos.
He's a radio guy.
Yeah. The guy that keeps trying to tell Billy various very off-color jokes. Yeah, that's Shane Black, director of Iron Man 3. Which you can tell because Iron Man 3 takes place around Christmas. Along with Lethal Weapon 2, Kiss Kiss, Bang Bang, and whatever else he's directed. All of his movies take place around Christmas.
Listen,
I mean, I get it. Christmas is awesome, but, have some variety.
If your movie takes place around Christmas, it's got to have some reason to. Like Die Hard.
Yeah, because Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Yep. Christmas is integral to its plot, thus it is a Christmas movie.
Hans Gruber has been very bad, and John McClane is there to deliver not coal, but hot lead.
Well, you can still use. You can still use lead to start a firefight.
Yeah. All right.
So, do we have anything on the streaming front?
Streaming. Well, I've watched a number of movies, but I'm only going to talk about one. That was Abigail. Which, I don't know. I'm trying to remember what the trailers actually show. Because if you haven't seen the trailers, there's an interesting twist in the movie. But if you have seen them, I'm pretty sure it's in there.
What's the movie about?
She's a vampire.
She's a vampire.
Yeah. So the movie starts with a group of criminal ne'er-do-well types who've been brought together to do a job.
Movie.
And the job is to kidnap this girl and hold her for ransom. So they grab her, hold her for ransom. They grab her, take her out to this mansion out in the middle of nowhere. They're apparently working for Giancarlo Esposito's character. Those of you who don't know, that was Gus from Breaking Bad.
He was
and
also
Better
the
Call Saul.
Mandalorian.
Also, as a Mandalorian is Moff Gideon. Occasionally a lawyer on early episodes of Law & Order, and various other things. He's in the upcoming Captain America 4 as, I think, Sidewinder. I can't remember which member. He's one of the members of the Serpent Society. I don't remember which one.
He was in Far Cry 6.
I'll take your word for it. So, he's like, all right, you've got to hold her here for 24 hours while we get the ransom. And they've all been trying to be professional, reasonably so, and not talk about who they are and everything. Although one member of the group has been based on their actions, has pegged each of them what their personalities are and everything. And none of them, except for one of the people who she said was probably a cop, is able to figure out that she's a junkie. And he's like, Yeah, so not so great when you do that to other people, right? So she tries to kind of bond with the girl, and then people start getting like massacred, and finally, like, so who's your dad anyway? And she tells them it's some big time crime boss, and they're just like, oh, well, we're completely and totally screwed because even if we just like call him right now, like, hey, forget the money, here's your daughter back, he's still gonna kill us. Basically, imagine oh, the guy from God, I'm going to come back to that. Wow, I'm totally spacing that one. Jesus, now I'm totally lost my train of thought. Anyway, I'll come back to that in a minute. He, big time crime boss, and Kaiser Soze is who I'm trying to think of from the movie that I can't think of now. It'll all come back to me here in a moment. This will all make a lot more sense. Trust me, stay with me. So, they're like, well, we're pretty well screwed. And Usual Suspects is the name of the movie. Kaiser Soze. Giancarlo Esposito is also in that movie. That's one of his earliest movies, I think. But anyway, have any of you seen that movie before I continue, so this makes any kind of sense at all?
Go ahead.
Well, that's one of the few movies I refuse to spoil, so sorry, go watch it. It's great. It's Bryan Singer's best movie. I'm pretty sure Bryan Singer made that. So anyway, so like, hey, well, let's just leave. Like, we'll let Giancarlo's character clean this up. And that's the point that the house like completely locks down, so they can't go anywhere. And yeah, like about halfway through the movie, yeah, she's definitely a vampire, and she's the one who hired the guy to get them there because they have all done one thing or another against her dad, and she's just going to murder them, but she's going to enjoy it in the process. So yeah, and they're kind of like, so your dad's presumably a vampire too, right? And she's like, of course, you know, because and beyond that, probably like the vampire. So
Dracula?
yes, because
Cool.
he does show up by the end of the movie, and he's like, yeah, it's just one of many names I've gone by. And if you look, there's like iconography all around the house of a dragon,
Yeah.
which in real life was Vlad Tepes's symbol.
Yep.
So yeah, but very gruesome movie. Like definitely some like, I could just drink your blood, or I could tear your head off first, kind of stuff. And like, whenever the vampires get it, they just like, it's like, all right, bring out the gallons of blood.
Yeah, another movie where Kevin Durant is probably underutilized.
Who?
Kevin Durant.
Who? See, remember Duran Duran?
No.
That's a shame.
He's an actor.
I assumed as much.
He was in Smoking Aces, Legion, Robin Hood. He was in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Hang on. Okay. Tall, big guy.
Yep.
Was in Stargate SG-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. No, not underutilized. He made it through most of the movie.
Good. There is actually a movie where he's the main character that's pretty good.
What is it?
Now you're going to make me look it up because I can never remember the name
Don't bother. Tell me later. So yeah, like of the movies I watched on streaming, that's the one worth talking about. I watched most of Monkey Man. It was good, but I passed out partway through. Not the fault of the movie. That was me being tired. But the main takeaway from that is I think Dev Patel has real potential as a lead man if he's in some other stuff. Because he was in The Green Knight, was pretty good there. He's pretty good in this. I feel like there was a lot I missed because it involved like Indian politics and Hinduism and some things I wasn't entirely certain on with Hinduism that I don't know if the movie got right either. So, because everything I know about Hinduism I learned from the Temple of Doom, which I take to mean it's all wrong.
Probably.
So yeah, that's the main thing I got from streaming this week.
So the only thing I've been streaming has been Law and Order SVU, which we started in season 20 because, like you said, I don't think you can have that much, differences
in sex-based crimes.
Yes,
to put it mildly.
The only thing that I find myself looking at and saying, well, no, you can't do that. It's just where they do it repeatedly. They'll go and knock on a door, and they're like, "We need to talk to you about this." And first of all, they don't have a warrant, so the person can just say no and shut the door, and the people just kind of like will sit there like, like they're like, "We need to, we need to talk to you about blah blah blah," and then they'll just like walk into their house, like not being invited, not whatever, just.
Technically, you haven't told them to not come in, and you haven't shut the door at that point.
Yeah, but they're not supposed to be able to. There's I don't know which amendment. There's an amendment where they say they pretty much they cannot enter your domicile.
Anything they got at that point would also be inadmissible in court.
Yeah, it's against unreasonable search and seizure is what it is.
Yeah.
I should know this. No.
I think it's 4th, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, it's the 4th or the 14th. It's one that gets cited a lot in that. Yeah, that happens a lot in regular Law and Order. Although there, it's usually they'll be like, "Hey, what's that?" To like establish, "Oh, we had reason to go in because something was happening."
As long as they have what they view as probable cause to be able to enter, they can.
Well, exigent. Yeah, whatever that word is, that word I would never use in any other context, circumstances. They can enter in as well. Like if they're doing a wellness check and.
Yes, and to be clear, folks, before we continue any farther, none of us are lawyers, and this potentially only applies to the state of New York.
Yep.
But regardless, I mean, just randomly walking into people's houses, just. But then you see the other side of things where they're like, we have all of this evidence, but because it was obtained in a certain way, that it's all.
Well, yeah, I mean that's, because I know there are people out there that don't want to hear that kind of thing, but like there have to be rules.
Yeah. No, I mean I get that, but it's just at other times it's just like some of the politics that get played into it, where people.
Yeah, like the main Law and Order show is funny like that. Like there's several episodes where like 10 minutes in, like they've got the guy, the case is like he's clearly going away, and then something happens, or like there's another crime connected to it, or like, oh, well, we were investigating this crime. Hey, we found these other 10 dead bodies. There's a serial killer somewhere, or like something else happens to propel the plot forward, and you're just going through all kinds of other baloney. You're like, well, we would, but like there's an election coming up, and so we can't do this, and well, the state Supreme Court said this, and like it's occasionally a very bizarre show.
Yeah, right now, the season that we're in is obviously right in 2020, because they started like everybody wearing masks. They have in the courtroom, they have like all these like plastic shields up everywhere, and it's just like like, how is this going to age in 10 years, 20 years? People are going to look at this and
it'll be like a time capsule essentially.
Yeah.
Well, then I was looking at like, what are these plastic shields actually doing?
Oh, nothing. That's like the smoking versus no smoking section in restaurants. Like we should have learned that lesson decades ago. Like,
the smoke still travels.
There's one air system. Like,
but yeah, no, this is like in that it's. Yeah, you stop if somebody like sneezed on the guard, but I mean, it's not going to stop air from moving.
Right.
So, I get it. Maybe people feel better, but I mean, that's unfortunate what we had to deal with when we met William Shatner.
Yeah, that's why our photos look photoshopped.
Yeah.
Like there's like a line.
There's a split, and you can't really see the shield because of the angle the camera's on. It just looks like we spliced pictures together.
My streaming has mostly been sitting on the couch while Jordan watches episodes of Grey's Anatomy.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
She enjoys it. I kind of pay attention because she was watching, current episodes. Now she's going back through older episodes because it's her favorite show. And it's like, hold on. What about... This ain't what I know here. Because I'm listening to something while I'm browsing on my phone. I'm going to look up every now and then. I'm going to catch on to stuff.
It sounds like when I was kind of watching Bleach on Cartoon Network. And I started somewhere in, I think the 200s. I reasonably caught on to what was happening. I literally saw, the last episode of one story arc. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I just kept watching, and it got into the Arrancar part. And, it came to a point where, they were out of episodes.
Yeah. Filler episodes.
Well, no, they didn't even go to a filler episode. Cartoon Network just, restarted the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, hold on. They run one episode a weekend, maybe two. I was in the 300s. If this continues, it's going to take 6 years to get back to where they were. I was like, nope, not doing it.
That's about where I checked out.
So they didn't do that, but they ran enough of them that I was like, I jumped back in once I saw the numbers shot back up on the guide. But yeah, I was just like, no, if that's where they're going with this, I'm done. I learned enough. The show was cool. That's it. That's all I need to know.
Why does anime have so many episodes?
Most of them don't.
Well, I was gonna say
Bleach,
One Piece.
One Piece, and Naruto are the outliers.
Yeah, One Piece, where the creator has said, all right, the prologue's finished. I can get to the real story now.
Yeah.
And I believe we're 1,000 episodes in.
Yeah. There's over 1,000 episodes for One Piece.
Yeah.
Most of them
I'm just going to stick with the Netflix show.
are like, at most, 4 or 5 seasons. That's it.
Yeah, or you could be like Cowboy Bebop, one of the greatest animes ever. It's like
One
26
season.
episodes.
Yep.
26 episodes, one movie that you don't even have to watch.
Yeah. It doesn't even... If you pay attention, you can tell where it fits in between the episodes.
Roughly where it fits.
But only roughly.
Yeah, it's got to be towards the end, I think. I'm trying to remember the last time I watched it. If there's... Who's missing? No, everyone's in it, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I can't even say that for certain.
I think it's during the period where Faye leaves.
No, she's in the movie too.
No, I mean leaves the Bebop.
Oh, it could be.
And before she comes back.
Is it before or after she has her memories back?
I think it's half.
Okay, then it's got to be in the last few episodes.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Well, no,
I found it for free on YouTube one day and watched it again because it's not on any of the streaming services.
Hmm.
Even though Netflix has the series, they for some reason don't have the movie.
I think it was either on Netflix or whatever. I started watching Attack on Titan, and then I was just like, okay, well that's it. Then I go on a Crunchyroll. I was like, well, no, there's like 12 more seasons to go on this thing.
If you don't mind reading your anime, as in it's only subbed, not dubbed, there is a 1-season series, Bartender, The Glass of God. It is really good. It's literally an anime about a bartender. Like, it is a good anime.
Does he have like the Holy Grail or something?
It's a hotel is wanting to open their, like, signature bar type thing.
Sure, but like, how's it factor into the title?
The
really
guy that owns the hotel wants a bartender there who can pour the glass of God.
Is he really like Bacchus
No.
in Greek mythology?
No, everybody's normal people. He's just wanting, like, a bartender that will be able to solve all patrons' problems.
Lost chances here.
Just help them out.
Like, completely lost opportunity.
It's a good anime, trust me. You should watch it. It is.
I don't want slice of life stuff.
But it's slice of life in Japan.
That's fine. They can have it. I want weird. Like, I want the last 2 episodes to leave me wondering what in the hell I just watched. To the point they have to make a movie to explain it, which just compounds the problem. To the point they have to make another series, which doesn't answer any questions either.
So
Are we talking about Cowboy Bebop
No,
again?
No, we're talking about Evangelion. That's what we're talking about.
Genesis Evangelion.
Because I thought you were on the Cowboy Bebop. The Space Dandy's part of the same
No, I don't know
universe.
about that. But Cowboy Bebop didn't have a weird ending. Cowboy Bebop's ending was quite clear if you paid attention.
Yeah.
With the Neo Genesis, you start off with it's just people and giant robots. Wait, these robots are like their moms. They're like in the womb. That's why they have to be soaked in. That's why they're in fluid.
That's only the beginning of the weird. At the end of the series, it just kind of stops, if I remember right. And everyone's like, "The hell was that?" So then they made the movie. And the movie's like kind of remakes the last 2 episodes and then just goes. And everyone turns into orange juice at the end.
Yeah.
And then their souls combine. They fly off into space. I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then the remake series happens, which clearly assumes you've seen everything else, because things happen that you would only know what's happening if you've seen the other part. Because at the end, one random dude turns into orange juice with no explanation. You have to see the others to know what the hell's happening. And then it ends with all them in an anime version of the regular world where everyone's just like school kids. That's what happens.
What?
Shinji winds up with, I think, the new girl who shows up. That was a new character they introduced. The one, she has like a purple or pink outfit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Not Rei or
Asuka.
Asuka. Yeah. Which was always like the huge debate, like who do we actually go with? But yeah. Takes the new girl. Kind of repairs his relationship with his dad, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
There's no telling.
Well, repairing the relationship with his mom would mean repairing the
Space-time continuum. Since she's dead.
or his battle armor.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's God, I can't even begin to explain the end of that one. Like, you got to see it. That's all I can say.
What if I don't want to?
Well, then don't watch it, but you should.
You should.
You'll just be scratching. You're like, what has happened? What is going on? You know, that's what I like in my anime. Like Outlaw Star. Did you ever see that?
Oh, I love Outlaw Star.
The first 20 some odd episodes, they're kind of bounty hunters doing their thing, outlaws, whatever. The last 2 episodes,
Space magic.
Space magic. People morphing into their spaceships. Like Hazanko, joined with his spaceship to fight him after he gained the powers of a god, and then they join with theirs, and it's like, what is happening here? Where did this come from?
And then at the end, a shot of them all on a planet together in a garage or something?
Yeah. And one episode edited out on Toonami.
Yet if you get the actual anime series, it is right there.
Yeah. No. I believe it was the let's go to the planet where clothing is discouraged.
Let's go to the hot spring resort planet.
That's what it was.
Because there's someone there making the magic bullets that Gene needs to get a bunch of magic bullets from.
Was it the number 1 or the number... I think it was the lower numbers were the more powerful ones, right?
Yeah, he needed a number 1. He needed a few of them.
Yeah. Because he was going to fight Hazanko with his space magic.
Yeah, and, he needed powerful magic bullets for it.
Hell, it even happens in the Street Fighter animated series I watched one time. It's mostly Street Fighter stuff up until the end. Then all of a sudden, Bison's powers come from some Native American idol, and he's drawing... It's like an Indian head. I'm like, what the hell is this? Where did this come from?
The fact that M. Bison was supposed to be originally a Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be Balrog, and Balrog was Bison. They flipped the 2 names.
Yeah. That's what I like in my anime. I just wind up in a weird, confusing note where I don't know what the hell I just watched, and it'll just haunt me for a while. Cowboy Bebop doesn't do that. Clear ending. Several characters don't walk away. Yeah.
All right. I think we've delved into the miscellaneous too. So.
Yes, we have probably plumbed the depths of miscellaneous. Let's Owen, you got something maybe? Is that where you saying that or?
What?
Now he seems like me in the beginning. So I've been very articulate since, but in the very beginning, my brain just went.
Man, I've seen some weird crap, and I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about.
It's extremely weird.
Oh yeah, I think you could watch Neon Genesis. I don't think there's anything in it that's... there's all kinds of things that are beyond weird, but...
So if you want the weird anime, you need to go with Magical Shopping Arcade Abinobashi. I watched it when G4 was G4.
Oh yeah, back before they went to become the Cops channel, and then everyone on G4 except for Chris Gore went crazy.
Yep.
Well, I suppose Olivia Munn didn't either. She went to play Psylocke. Perfect casting.
Yep.
Also, the only person, her outfit has to be comic accurate. No one else's, but hers. And everyone's like, are you sure about that, guys? Have you seen her outfit? Yes, that's why. I'm pretty sure she insisted on it, too. So.
Oh, probably she did.
That's also why in Predators, they had to get her naked in the decontamination room.
That was only, the slightest step past what she was already doing on G4 anyway. So, but she's legitimately funny. I've seen, some of her actual comedy stuff, and she's reasonably intelligent too. So
FLCL.
Yeah, that had a weird ending, especially for only 6 episodes, I think, for the original series.
Yeah, and then you also had Dead Leaves. Is weird. It's it's not a series. It's a short movie.
There's a movie I've seen that was just the whole thing was weird, beginning start to finish. I can't even pronounce the actual title, but it's Beautiful Dreamer. It's part 2 of whatever the series is. And these kids just keep reliving the same day over and over again. But the city, like, less and less of it is populated as it goes on. It comes into just them at some point, and they try to leave. They're able to go off into space essentially, and because like they leave the atmosphere, and like it's literally just their chunk of the city on top of a giant turtle out in space, and like it just gets weirder from there. Yeah.
You'll have to text me the name of that.
Okay.
Well, I think I said.
Yeah,
I think we went into the off
Twilight
whatever.
Zone.
Oh,
If you're still listening,
that Kevin Durant movie is Dark Was the Night. Has Lucas Haas in it too.
Well, let's wrap this up. I think I've heard of that.
All right. Well, anyways, this is going to wrap up at least this part of the meeting of the Geek Cabal. We may have other discussions to go on later, but I think we've went on long enough for this. So.
Oh, probably.
So anyways, thank you for joining us, and yeah, again, I know I already did the like, comment, share, subscribe stuff earlier, which probably, stopped everyone from watching earlier, but anyway. You guys got anything else?
No, I was just showing Chad the cover to the
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah.
we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, folks, for watching, and see you later.
see you
Take care.
later.